Hello, everyone, and welcome to Game Masters, a show where we like to show off things that are kind of related to speedrunning. Today, we're going to be playing Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition, as well as Ori and the Will of the Wisps. But before we get to that, I have a couple announcements I would like to make on behalf of GDQ. GDQ 2021 online is complete, and the total is $2.77 million for now. As a reminder, all of GDQ's portion of subs, gift subs, Prime Gaming subs, and bits cheered on the GDQ Twitch channel for the month of January will be donated to the Prevent Cancer Foundation. So there's still a chance that we can get to that $3 million total. GDQ Hotfix is a series of shows that happens every week here on Games Done Quick. Information about all of our Hotfix shows is available at gamesdonequick.com/hotfix. If you're watching on YouTube and would like to support our live content, please consider checking out our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/GDQ. Remember, if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can subscribe to any Twitch channel of your choice every month for free. So please consider using your Prime Gaming account to subscribe to the GDQ Twitch channel. And with that, I'm going to introduce this first game that is very near and dear to my heart. It's Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition. I'm joined by Zemsis, who will be running, and Aiko the Blue, who will be commentating, and will also be running Ori and the Will of the Wisps later. Hello and welcome to both of you.
Hello.
How are both of you?
Oh, I'm doing great, thanks. Yeah, welcome to this Ori 1 and Ori 2 bingo showcase. I'm Xemsis. I run this game, both randomized and vanilla, helped a bit with the development of the Ori 1 rendo, and I'm one of the main developers of the Ori 2 rendo. Today, Aiko's here to join me for commentary and for the run later. Aiko, how you doing?
Current maintainer of the Ori 1 randomizer and the lead developer of the Ori 2 randomizer. I also play them sometimes, and I'm so excited to show you all some of the cooler and wilder stuff we've built over the last 2 years. Zem, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you're going to be running?
All right, so for starters, we brought you some Ori and the Blind Forest randomizer discovery bingo. First, let's talk a bit about Ori. Ori is a very beautiful 2D Metroidvania with a huge focus on movement and some really unique mechanics, both intended and unintended. Those mechanics make it an incredible game to play randomized, and we have an item randomizer here. That means every pickup in the base game could be anything the game has to offer. Health, energy, one of the abilities, a key for a dungeon, or some more special things that were specifically added for this randomizer. More about that if we find some of them. Of course, the randomizer makes sure we can complete the game while everything is shuffled. However, after playing many hundreds or thousands of hours of rando, just randomizing the items now was not enough for us anymore. Eiko, why don't you tell us a bit about bingo, what we're here going to do?
Yeah, so we feel that item randomization does add a bunch of replayability, but the way that the item randomizer is typically played is using what is called a goal mode, and that gives you a fixed set of objectives. But we felt that one way to increase the replayability is by randomizing the goals too, and that's where bingo comes in. In bingo, we have a 5x5 grid of randomly generated goals. So in every playthrough, not only are you going to get the items in a random order, but the objectives are completely random too. And because this is discovery bingo, if you look down at the bingo board, you'll notice that most of the squares are grayed out. They are a mystery. And what's going to happen, how Discovery Bingo works is when you complete a square, it's going to reveal what the nearby squares are. So Zem is going to be getting, if you see the starting squares are collect pickups in Blackroot, one of the early game locations, and he has to also get pickups from health cells, and we'll see as he progresses through the seed and achieves those goals, it's going to light up the squares around him, and he'll learn more about what he has to do.
All right, I think with that, we should be ready to go. I will sync up the auto tracker real quick. And once that is finished, we can start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now.
All right, so Zem's about to do a very important, very difficult trick, and it saves a bunch of time. He's going to skip the prologue. There we go. Excellent work. Excellent. Well done, Zem. Well done.
Thanks. That's already 10 minutes safe, so we are off to a good start. So, as with many Metroidvanias, I'm spawning in with a very limited skill set. The only thing I can do right now is jump from the ground. And this is the first pickup. We get a keystone. So, Eiko, explain to us a bit. How does this work?
All right, so keystones are used to open doors. There are a bunch of key doors we'll see in the game. There's a total of, I actually don't remember the number of doors, but there's 38 keystones worth of doors in the game, and we'll see Zem opening a fair number of them. He's also going to run away from that first enemy, jump over it, get it to break a boulder, and he is about to pick up one of the only fixed pickups in the randomizer, which is the first skill that we're going to see, Sign. Zem, what does Sign do?
So Sign is a little floating orb that allows you to actually defend yourself against enemies. You can use it to shoot at things that are nearby. This is fixed because Ori 1 really isn't designed to be played without Sign, even though some people prove time and time again that that is possible. And now we saw the first randomizer feature. I just used Alt-R. Eiko, what does that do?
So Alt-R is similar to the save and quit feature if you've played the Link to the Past randomizer or watched that. What it does is it just warps you back to the spawn. And the reason we have that is because there are a lot of times in a Metroidvania where there's an area that is designed to be reached without a skill, but you can't get out without the skill there. Because it's randomized, what that frequently would mean is either like boring seeds or soft lock. So what we do is we just let people warp back to the spawn whenever. And Zem's going to take advantage of that here to warp back to the spawn after swimming through some dirty water to get an underwater pickup. And he got a bunch of experience, so we're going to see him level up twice. That's what those big explosions are. Leveling up also restores your health and energy and gives you an ability point to spend. We'll be seeing Zem spend those later.
Yes, also for those who have played the game, you may notice this door is already open. This is one of the randomizer variations. It's called Open World. It basically removes two doors and a cutscene and a kill plane to allow some more variety in early and mid-game routing. And with that, we are gonna make us get over to the first skill tree in the game. This is gonna take a bit more.
Yep.
You know, I do want to note that one of the pickups that you got for that second keystone over there was Wind Restored, which is currently unusable by you.
Yeah, Wind Restored is a neat pickup that helps, that really doesn't do anything until you find Glide, but once you find Glide, it lets you float upwards. Another thing I want to note is Zem got a pickup from the health cell, and you can see on the bingo board that it has now updated and says get pickups from health cells 1 of 5. Ori as a game is very fast-paced, and manual tracking of bingo goals would be really difficult, so one of the things that I built as part of my work in the Ori randomizer development is bingo auto-tracking, where we just play the game and it reports what pickups you've gotten and your goal progress to the web server and tracks it automatically.
Yes, without auto-tracking those count goals, we have a bunch of them. For example, you may later see that I need to get, for example, 113 pickups. Counting that manually really wouldn't be viable, so it's very good we have this auto-tracking in place. And here we have our first skill. Now that's a good one.
That's a great one.
Bash is an incredible skill. It's very unique to the Ori series. And what Bash does is it grabs a projectile or enemy and it throws that the thing you're bashing in one direction or in another. And Zem is going to quickly start doing a lure of an enemy, and he's going to use that enemy and Bash to get to a location he would not be able to get to otherwise. A Frankie lure is going to sort of take him on a nice little journey.
Yes, this takes a bit, and you already saw one thing I did there, which was bash the same Frankie twice, and that's coming up again in just a bit here. Eiko, how do these work?
Okay, so a double bash is a trick that basically in the base game lets you grab an enemy and basically grab a bash target and throw it in a basically instead of having your bash go in one direction and your target go in another, both go in you get to set the direction of both basically wherever you want, and it is a one-frame trick in the base game, but in the randomizer, because in part of a trick that lets you do this much easier on mouse and keyboard, we actually make it so that you can double bash freely, and this means that Zem's going to have not going to have any trouble doing long chains of double bashes.
Yeah, we do have scroll wheel bindings. We allow those in the Ori community on mouse and keyboard. And just to even the playing field a bit between mouse and keyboard and controller, especially in a randomizer where you may be forced to do 15, 20 of these in a row if you're going fast. We just put the binding in. If you press it, you get your double bash for free.
Yeah, and it's very nice. We're going to see Zem do another Frankie lure over here to get into the Spirit Caverns room, and then he's going to be able to do various bashings off of this, these projectiles here to get the pickups here. And he just found Charge Flame. Charge Flame is a nice skill. Ooh, and Glide.
Now,
Nice
that's what we call a
Cavern,
valuable Spirit Caverns right here. Do a backflip here to get up the ledge. So let's start with first things first. What about Sea Flame?
So Charge Flame is an ability that causes a big radial explosion. It costs half an energy, and oh, that's funny. Zem was trying to do a suicide, but the level up is going to make it take a little longer for that to happen. The Sea Flame explosion does some damage. It's not great for damage, but what it is great for is redirecting projectiles and destroying blue walls, which we'll see Zem doing momentarily. Actually, probably not, because Zem just found this Mega Energy, which gives you 5 temper...
I may have forgotten that there's a wall in the way. Yes, we will be doing the wall breakage momentarily. Let me check this. All right. So, about Charge Flame. So Charge Flame costs energy to use. In the randomizer, it can be possible that a lot of Charge Flames are required to break walls or plants, and because that would get very annoying to repeatedly get a pickup, then refill your energy at the next save and work back and so on. The cost actually got reduced. So that's just one of the ways Rando kinda helps out a bit.
Yeah, we initially this actually wasn't the case, but we definitely Zem, unfortunately that Frankie can only be bashed 4 times, but because in the randomizer there's another skill, Grenade, that is basically a better version of Charge Flame in a lot of ways, and that has to be free for reasons we may end up seeing later. We ended up making Charge Flame cost only a half an energy base, and because there's an upgrade in the game that reduces the cost of Charge Flame by 1/2, with that upgrade, we actually just saw them get that in the blue tree. Charge Flame is now free, and he can use it to clear these purple brambles and stuff rapidly, though he doesn't want to blow all these up because he needs to bash off one of them. And oh my god, there's Grenade. So Grenade, or Light Burst as it's known in the base game, throws a projectile that breaks blue things and in addition can be bashed off of. So we're going to see Zem doing lots of throwing grenades and bashing off of them as a movement technique, and it doesn't matter that he can't climb up walls normally or do double jump or any of that stuff, because he can bash Grenade, and that's going to give him incredible movement flexibility.
So you saw there, this doesn't reach. A fun thing is we can have 3 of these in a row, so we can get incredible heights just by throwing grenades everywhere and bashing off of them. And with this, we have collect pickups in Blackroot as a sprayer. I think it is time to start working towards that.
Yeah, collect pickups in Blackroot is going to be... Blackroot is an optional area that was added in the Definitive Edition. Zem is going to do his first instance of a Save Anywhere trick. You can see that he's sort of gotten control of Ori behind this save menu. And when you do that, you can spend an ability point to save even in places you shouldn't. For example, right after you've started a cutscene, the game thinks the cutscene's been started. It doesn't require playing out the entire thing, so Zem quits the menu and gets to skip that entrance cutscene. And now we're into Blackroot Burrows, this very dark and scary place.
Yes, a lot of things can kill you, especially this particular spike pit down here. But otherwise, our goal for Blackroot is to take that orb that we just saw and use it to spawn platforms, remove walls, and so on. We can also use our pretty late game skills, Bash and Grenade, though, to skip most of these puzzles, and the orb will gladly follow us without us actually carrying it.
is one of those areas that in the randomizer is almost completely different from how it's played in the base game, both because of you can enter with more skills and have a lot of other options, but also just because being able to warp to spawn and the fact that the grenade will follow you wherever you go means you don't need to interact with a bunch of the puzzles in this area. In fact, it's faster not to. And because grenade also lights the kind of lanterns that the Blackroot orb does too, we'll see them just throw grenade at some lanterns, and instead of doing this moving puzzle here with the grenade, he's just going, or with the lantern, he's just going to throw a couple grenades and bash his way up to here and pull the lever.
Yes, this is normally with almost any other skill set. It's a long auto-scroller section. We got the one thing that lets us skip that, so I am very happy to not have to see these again.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna do some cutscene magic again.
Yeah, this is actually a sort of extended silliness because Zem is going to use this end of a cutscene to skip another cutscene twice in a row. But first, he's going to bypass these crushers. You're supposed to only get through here with dash, but it turns out you can go up and over them. And if Zem stands in a particular place right as the lights go on here, he's going to be able to stack the end of the first cutscene with the second cutscene and the end of the second little mini cutscene for looking at the tree with the tree cutscene itself. And now he is all the way over here. It's very nice. And he's up to 4 pickups in Blackroot out of the 8 that he needs. And he's going to be able to get the other ones relatively quickly, which is going to be neat and also reveal us our first goals.
Yes, so Blackroot, especially that pickup there, is often skipped or at least save scammed when you don't really need it. However, we have a square for 8 pickups in Blackroot, so I'm not gonna skip or remove anything. So, speaking of glitches, Blackroot is full of them. This is a dash gauntlet where you're supposed to use the dash skill from the base game to raise a closing door. However, if you save while the door is opening and reload, the door will just continue opening forever and we don't have to deal with that.
Yep. And this glitch is very popular and in fact was actually so commonly used that it is one of the only glitches that is present at all in the standard logic for this game. Speaking of glitches, Zem just sort of actually didn't do a glitch. He just sort of bypassed this entire rolling boulder escape with yet another application of the very powerful skill combination that is bash and grenade. And here he's going to grab this hell cell, which is going to give him another pickup from hell cell, and it'll be his 8th pickup in Blackroot. And oh, we have gotten some news about goals. We have in that A1 top left square, escape this dungeon, the Ginso tree. If anyone here in chat has played Ori before, I'm sure they remember the Ginso tree escape. It is one of the most iconic moments in this game.
As a heads up, we will be updating that on stream for you in just a minute.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the 3 goals that have been revealed are escape that, drain the swamp, and gain 5,250 spirit light.
Yeah, that does seem like a lot, but Zem is probably going to be investing in a skill that gives him that gives him additional spirit light. It's called spirit light efficiency, doubles how much spirit light you get, and that will help him much. Now he's back over here and opening this energy door into what we call the Death Gauntlet area. Zem, why is this the Death Gauntlet?
So in the main speedrunning category of this game, all skills note of bounds, you come here with 3 or 4 health and none of the air mobility we have. So you have to take a poison water swim, which will generally leave you at 1 or 2 HP, and then the Frankie will come jumping onto you, trying to squish you. There are a lot of deaths to that particular combination, and so the area got its name.
Yep, and in addition, the speedrun uses that as a bit of a sequence break, and the way it works is you get a timed level up with a Frankie. Basically, you do the Frankie lure that we saw earlier and kill it just at enough time to turn your 2 energy into a 4 energy. But because you've done this, it means there's about a minute of setup, and you can't save because you're spending all of your energy on the opening the door instead. So it's a very scary moment, and you just need to be very careful or you lose a lot of time. All right, but now we're in the Moon Grotto area.
And we are very close to getting another goal. It is right over these spike pits.
Yep. We have a goal here. which is
Oh, that's bad.
Zem has killed the enemy he needs, but Drain the Swamp is a goal that requires you to basically break a specific wall and remove a bunch of water from an area, and Zem is going to be grabbing this projectile and using it to get access to this area from below. This is not how typically you are intended to do this in the game, but we don't care. We're randomizer players. And now he's going to throw some grenades, or actually, nope, I tell a lie. He is going to use a charge flame and be able to break that barrier and reveal a bunch of information all at once. One of the things we sort of neglected to mention is that in Discovery Bingo, just because you can't see a square doesn't mean you can't progress it. And we have seen that Zem has actually made progress on several squares. Richard, has that updated on stream yet?
It will soon.
All right, give us some neat information about the bingo board. We'll see that Zem has done several squares on this already.
Yes, one of the things you may have seen me do earlier, I kind of did specific movement to drown the Frankie in a water pool. That is the drown an amphibian goal. It is on at least half of the board, so you basically always go for it, even in Discovery Bingo. The other square that is already completed is getting a bunch of pickups in the starting area of the game. That just kind of happened on its own, so now we see a bit more of this.
Yeah, Discovery Bingo is often a mix of trying to get the goals that you have visible so that you can get a more information, and also just hitting things that are common goals. You may actually see Zemsys taking intentional deaths in a few odd places, just because there are some goals that require you to die in specific spots. We can talk a little bit about the other goals revealed here. We see Zem has to kill a certain number of enemies, open energy doors. He's done 2 of those so far. And oh wow, was that a vanilla water vein? It looked like a vanilla water vein.
It was a vanilla water vein, and we also already found the Ginzo dungeon teleporter, so that is a way to look at in a bit.
Yeah, really, you could just go escape Ginzo right now, but I think you have other things to do in this grotto area first.
Yes, so one interesting thing about Discovery Bingo routing, obviously I could now go get A1, however that will give me no further information on anything on the board. It is in the corner and we already see the squares adjacent to it. So I'm just gonna put it off for a bit and, for example, get my 5th health cell in a minute or so.
Yep, and that'll give that'll open up a bunch of information. It'll open up B5 and C4. Oh wow, that is all 3 blue text pickups. Yeah, and oh, the Valley Teleporter. Valley Teleporter is often sometimes a bit of a double-edged sword in the open world game mode because there are a lot of things that you can get to from there, and we may end up seeing Zem have to head there and find something useful, but realistically a bunch of the map is now in logic, so he could really be expected to go anywhere, and it doesn't quite matter because he has bash and grenade, and as you can see, it's very powerful movement technique. So Zem's going to be focusing a lot more on completing bingo goals, and he's going to show us some very silly tech that we're actually just practicing right before this. There's an energy door here, and you can push a rock and get through here that way, but it's slower. And so Zem is going to do a little tricky bit of movement where you just sort of need to line up and then sort of hide behind that rock. And wow, first try, Zem gets it and bypasses this entire puzzle. Excellent work.
Nice, so I need to open the door anyway, but with you hyping it up so much, I couldn't not do it, right? So, yeah, that is what we call rock slide, a trick that got discovered a while ago. It skips opening this door, so it's a good thing to do. However, now I kinda gotta open it anyways, because we have C2 open 6 energy doors on the board.
Yeah, there aren't actually that many energy doors in the game, so it's hard to just like leave one behind. Here's Zem's gonna have to take some damage, and it's actually going to nope out of that part of Grotto rather than take a death there. With his skill set, he did not actually have a way to get out of there. You can't throw a grenade that is bashable unless you're standing on safe ground, and there was no safe ground there, only spikes.
Alright, I think we should go right back there though. I still have some stuff I wanna check down there. So let's go back.
We revealed some more goals. We got a purple door square, which is purple doors are basically boss or mini boss squares, and that one is for a lower Blackroot frogs. He could get this now, but it would be a bit of a pain, and I'm guessing he's going to want to put that one off till later. The other one is break plants, and there are a lot of plants around, so I assume he's going to want to be making progress on that one pretty soon. The right side of the map just has a bunch of plants, and I assume we're going to see them heading up to upper areas. And now we're heading back to this ability cell, and oh my god, that's Stomp.
That is a great pickup.
Good thing I went back for this. So this is my favorite skill in the game, actually. We just found Storm. It looks very basic. You stomp, it breaks floors below you, it does damage. Maybe if it comes up, we can also show off some interesting tech with it, but for now, let's continue here.
Yeah, them actually helped pioneer a bunch of very obscure tech that uses Stomp when you don't have other skills as a way of bypassing a lot of normal skill requirements. Some of it's interesting, a lot of it's very terrible. I just want to throw that out there. Bad stuff.
So you just saw me skill a bunch of abilities. The purple tree actually, Let's do this again. The purple tree is actually quite different in randomizer than in the vanilla game. I wanna talk about what got changed there.
Yeah, so the purple tree is basically a tree that is designed to make your first playthrough of the game easier. The stuff it contains is stuff like reveal things on the map or reveal hidden areas, stuff that doesn't actually make sense to be part of a randomizer, or isn't actually useful in a randomizer experience. And we let this be for a while, but eventually in the 3.0 version of the randomizer, we actually did a whole bunch of rebalancing to the purple tree. We changed what skills, we changed where a bunch of the skills are. The second thing, all the reveal stuff on the map squares have been rolled into the second pickup, and we've changed a bunch of other things in the tree. Include the things that reveal old health, that used to reveal health and energy cells, now instead give you health and energy regeneration. And the capstone ability, Sense, which in the base game just reveals hidden areas and is kind of useless, now gives you a sort of hot-cold detector and shows you when you are near a skill, which is very nice. Also very nice is Energy Leech, one of the first bonus pickups that was added to the randomizer around the time of 3.0. Then what does Energy Leech do?
So, you see, I have an energy bar. I use it at the moment, basically just for saving. However, the only way to refill it is either to save on a teleporter or to find an energy drop or an energy crystal. With Energy Leech, any damage that enemies take gets converted portion-wise to energy for me to use. So you can, if we find Dash later, that has some interesting interactions. Otherwise, you will just see me place down more saves than usual.
Yeah, and saves convert energy into health, so it's very easy. Once you have something like Energy Leech, it's, your survivability can go way up because you can just save a bunch of the time. And not only do you not lose as much time when you die, you'll be dying a lot less often because you can just get that health back.
So right now, I think I wanna go a bit for few more energy doors. One of the things is, since I do have clean water, this door is actually in logic, so let's see, maybe we get something. Just another mapstone, and then
kind of like something.
Yeah, kind of. And I guess I should also use my grenade a bit more often for the intended purposes.
I mean, I guess it's nice to have pickups. There are a lot of pickups around spawn that you can get with grenade and other combinations of skills. Grenade and clean water lets you get this pickup down here. Them is swimming in the water in the cutscene, which is just a little time save when you have clean water. When you don't have clean water, ooh, that is the Horu teleporter. Horu teleporter, very nice, lets him bypass the Sunstone and get into the final dungeon much more easily. That'll be a nice thing to have, depending on how many bingo cards he has in Horu. Because this is bingo.
We already see one, and depending on that A5, I may already have 2 easy rows to complete. So let's see what we'll get there. But first, I think it's Blade Sucker.
And you know, for anyone that has played through this game before and has gone through Mount Horu and is wondering, well, wait, isn't there lava there? You mentioned that this was open world logic, right? Can you kind of explain some of the differences?
Oh, yeah. So in the randomizer, for a long time, horror was just this place that you went to and then used a glitch to skip a cutscene, or to basically skip the entire dungeon, and then you just didn't have to interact with it at all. But in the 3.0 version of the randomizer, we made some changes, and one of them was we actually removed all the lava from Horu, and what we did instead is we put extra pickups behind each of the rooms where you're supposed to get the lava drain. So now you can just teleport in there. Instead of dying instantly to the lava, you have access to the entire dungeon. And we will see Zem heading there, probably not right away because that A4 square is pretty locked off. But eventually we're going to see him head into there. But for now, we're going to see him continue to make progress through this right side of the map. And I think that was a teleport into the Ginso tree.
No, I'm first going to Blackroot. I think checking B5 is a good play right now, because also I'm just randomly gonna stomp this pack because it could be a square. B5 opens up two potential good lines if A5 is also a good card, so I'm now gonna be taking a Frankie for a little walk.
Zem. Okay, this is a neat trick. Zem's showing off a really cool trick. This lets you get access to the lower areas of Blackroot burrows if you don't have the skills to do that normally. However,
Mainly being Stomp, but you know, we just want to show off this Frankie coming over here.
This is a neat lure Zem is showing off, and it's also Zem. This is completely unnecessary. You have Stomp.
I have Stomp.
But you just don't show it off.
It's nice knowing you, Frankie. I'm just gonna go over there and stomp that floor real quick.
Yeah, so we knew that obviously. Zem clearly was just sort of intentionally showing off that trick. That trick is sort of a nightmare because that Frankie, you can only has enough health to bash for 4 times, only survives if you do a glitch or otherwise prevent the boulder from crushing him, and never respawns. We're going to see Zem head down here and grab a bunch of pickups in this area, and he's going to be able to open that lower BRB door after he runs through here, ducks under this laser. A bunch of these lasers are intended to be like oh, you have to dash through here, it's very scary. You can just duck. Very good.
Yep.
Good.
In
good
particular,
level
this
geometry.
laser has like 8 different locations where you can just duck and avoid it. The reason I'm getting this pickup is, again, could be a square. This is one of the more out-of-the-way pickup locations that were chosen as potential bingo goals.
Yeah, in the code, I wrote that one as just garbage pickup location, and that is one of the garbage pickup locations because it's just very far out of the way. It's not somewhere you usually want to go or like a place you want to see. Here we see them ducking under these lasers. And in Discovery Bingo, if you're like near one of these locations, it can often just make sense to grab them because, you know, it could be on the board and it could be a neat item. One of the things I really like about Discovery Bingo is it just puts you in a position. Zem tried to use the level up explosion to kill that frog, but he has to play basketball instead. And he gets it. Very good. Excellent basketball playing.
Thank you.
Free
All right,
throws,
and we got a very nice revered square there with A5.
Hey, aren't you glad you stomped that stomp tag earlier? In
Yeah.
PvP?
I sure am.
You're one closer to that goal now because of
Yeah, there aren't actually there are a couple places where there are like a cluster of stomp squares, and I think we're actually probably going to see Zem head towards that area soon. That is the sort of right side of the map. Or oh nope, I tell a lie. Zem is just going to head straight into Horu.
I mean, L2 also has a pack, right? Might as well go get it.
L2 does in fact have a peg. Alright, and here we are in the final dungeon. And Zem's just gonna, you know, take this little explodey friend for a ride. This is, you know, it's fine. Definitely not dangerous at all. If he touches that wrong or like he gets his bash angles wrong, it will kill him. And oh wow, that is a ton of experience. Very nice to have. Going to be excellent progress on that gain experience goal. Late game areas tend to have more experience from their experience pickups, which is it means that when you sequence break, which Zem has definitely done here, it is easier to gain a bunch of levels really quickly.
Speaking of sequence breaking, want to talk a bit about dungeon teleporters and their dungeon keys?
Yeah, so technically what Zem is doing here is a major sequence break because without the dungeon key to Mount Horror, you aren't allowed to, the logic can't assume that you have access to this area just because you've been here, or just because you can get here with a teleporter. In fact, to have this area be counted as in logic, you need the Sunstone, which is the dungeon key for this area. And the reason we have it set up like that is so that the logic can't ever put the Sunstone inside the Mount Horu, and that's also true for the other dungeons. You can't have the water vein in the Ginso tree, and you can't have the Gumon seal in the Forlorn Runes. And we just think that's it's good design. I think it's not great if you can be forced to find a dungeon key inside the dungeon, and also we have in this game mechanics that let you basically help you get information about where the dungeon keys are, so you're not just stuck searching for them across the entire map. There isn't equivalent information available for the dungeon teleporters, so if you got the clue, the mechanic we're talking about is called clues for the water vein, and said the water vein from the Ginso tree, then it's not really helpful. It's in fact the opposite of helpful. Alright, so Zem gets this L2 square.
And now I think I am kind of gonna complete row A very soon. There's just one thing I wanna do first. If you look at the board, right in the center it says touch 7 map avatars, and there's one right nearby. So I'm gonna take this elemental projectile and go places.
Yep. This is the chain double bashes we were talking about earlier. Zem is just going to abuse this glitch built into the game and go flying, basically. Double bashing with a projectile like this basically is a free license to go flying through open areas. And that is going to get him up to 4 out of 7 map alters. There's only 9 in the game, so 7's a pretty hefty requirement, but with the access he has, the skills he has, it is not going to be too much of a problem.
Alright, I think it is time to do a bit of a different Ginso escape than most casual players would be used to. There's some nice fun glitches here to do.
Yep, the Ginso escape is that first major dungeon key. The Ginso tree is where you get Bash in the vanilla game, so the Ginso escape is a Bash-focused escape. Zem is coming here from the teleporter, which means he doesn't have to do any of the lower part of the tree. He is... Oh, can you do that? Yeah, you can. Okay. Going to do a neat little double bash so that he can get up here without having to throw a grenade. And here he is at the Ginso tree's core.
And I'm gonna place down a save here for later, and for now we're just gonna check some small pickups in Upper Ginso and work on opening up the core as you would during a normal playthrough. However, since we have Stomp,
approximately as you would. Yeah. Stomp lets you, instead of having to like throw projectiles at these doors to break them, there are a lot of things in this game that can just sort of be broken by other skills rather than the intended one. Stomp will break a lot of floors and walls if you get right up next to them, including, for example, the kind of barriers that you see here in Ginso. And so we're going to see them grab them. He also just spent 7 points, and you see Ori change colors to this bright blue because Zem grabbed Sense, which means Ori is now a hot-cold detector, and we'll see him... What's your Sense color set to? Red?
Yes, I am currently playing on the default color, so I will change gradually red as I come to close to anything important or want return.
Yeah.
We're going to notice here, usually you have water chasing after you in the Ginso escape, but Zem just rekindled that save that was made earlier to skip that from happening.
Yep, and normally what happens when that happens, or normally this trick only works once and then when you respawn, but what Zem just did, what I like to call true waterless. And in true waterless, if you drop a save at the top of the bulb after the autosave for the start of the escape, even if you die during the escape, when you respawn, the water will still be stopped. And so now Zem has this beautiful chase screen, we've got this wonderful music, we've got these amazing water sounds, and there's absolutely no danger. You can just go through this at a snail's pace if you want to. And that can be really important with some skill sets where it's actually difficult to move up through the tree quickly, but with Bash Grenade, it's just more of a like, nice luxury.
It's comfy.
Yeah.
Marathon safety, I think.
Marathon safety, yes. Absolutely marathon safety is what we have here. and also means that you are under no pressure when going for these pickups. Zem can just juggle off of this Frankie because he doesn't have any kind of. Oh, that's pretty funny. Okay, so Zem's not going to use that right now probably, but that is a warp, which is a special kind of pickup that is unique to the item pool that Zem is using. One of the many methods of customizing your experience in the Aura randomizer is item pool, and the concept of an item pool is basically just
1 XP.
Right, that's what we call value for doing the Ginzo escape right here.
Get a warp and 1 XP. I don't think it could get any better than that.
I mean, we could have had warmth returned, but not really. 1 EXP, so in the maximum value of an experience, like an experience pickup increases over time. The minimum value of an experience pickup is 2, except for there is in the game a single 1 experience pickup brought to you by Sigma Sign, the original creator of the randomizer, just to brighten your day a little bit. That single experience drop.
And actually, that does go towards the first item in the 3rd column of Gain Spirit Light. So it's not actually nothing.
Yeah, in fact, because Zem has that Spirit Light efficiency from the purple tree, it's double, not nothing. He got 2 entire points towards that. 5,250 that he needs. Anyway, I was talking about the concept of an item pool, and item pools, Zem is circling his mouse because he is turning red. That pickup down there is going to be something important. We'll see what it is in a little bit. Item pools basically let you determine which pickups are shuffled. You can do a lot of customization of item pools. You can include or remove things like the teleporter pickups. You can also add extra things like these warps that we've seen, the energy leech stuff, and some other fun pickups that we may see Zem grab later. For now, he's going to head up here, get this stomp tree, and light a grenade switch, which is going to give him access to that pickup that we saw activating the sense radar.
And for those who like to go on a bit more of an adventure and think that Ori doesn't have enough skills already, we also have some very interesting bonus skills. We are not showcasing them today, but if you feel like playing with them, there's something to experience.
Yeah, the bonus skills are some of the funniest things that I personally have added to the randomizer. They do a variety of interesting things. Zem is committing suicide on this boss here. This is one of those goals that I talked about earlier. Just die to. Oh, this is actually visible. This is actually really funny timing. Zem just got his experience goal completed, and that it revealed D1, and he has the goal die to both things: the Stomp Rhino, which is the thing he just died to, and the Forlorn Void, which is over on the left side of the map, and we'll be seeing that later. Now, though, we're going to find out what this pickup is here, and it is the Sunstone. That actually can be very relevant. Even though we have that horror teleporter, there are some things that can show up on the bingo board pretty frequently that specifically require the Sunstone. We don't know if we're going to see those yet. We have 9 unrevealed squares so far, so it is just going to be a little bit of a mystery.
Yes, there is an Easter egg that requires Sunstone to spawn, and just find Sunstone can also be a square. So it doesn't have to be useless. There's a high chance it is going to be useless. We will see soon. For now, I'm gonna make my way over to the Grove main area and get those 2 packs done. And after that, I'm probably just gonna do some general pickup checking for plants.
Yep. He's got the break plants goal, and the area with the most plants in the game is this area around the Ginso tree in the sort of center of the right side of the map. And it's the area with the most plants because it's the area right after you get Charge Flame, and like basically every Metroidvania, it is the area right after you get a skill is one of the places you use it most. So we're going to see Zem going around grabbing plants. He's also going to be doing things like breaking floors and ceilings, because one of the goals that it can be really bad to have revealed if you're not making any progress on is break a bunch of floors or a bunch of walls. So it pays to spend a little bit of extra time to be completionist in that kind of sense.
Zem does not want this laser cutscene, that's for sure.
Yeah, there is a
cutscene right here. If you jump over it, it will never happen, which spawns 2 lasers. It will kill you instantly, no matter how much health you have. So and it loses time because it is a cutscene. So jumping over it is the way to skip that.
Not dying to lasers, also great. Ooh, we see Zem changing color here, which means we are near some kind of useful pickup. It is probably somewhere to the left, but there are a lot of different things it could be.
And the plant is looking good. It is something very important.
This is very important.
Yeah.
The one pickup that is slightly worse than the 1 XP pickup. Warmth return.
In some ways, it's better because once you've gotten, it means your bingo goal or your scent can't be messed with. But yeah, warmth return does basically nothing. It's the thing that you get when you start the final escape, and it's got plot relevance. It's like basically the thing you're doing to like restore the forest to its former glory, but it doesn't actually do anything for you while you're playing the game. So Zem is doing a very, very necessary double bash chain here that, like, I guess kind of saves some time. This is not like completely useless, and that is going to be the last energy door, which is going to reveal, wow, a surprising amount of the map. Oh, and a really terrible card. Oh, this is good. I love this.
Oh no.
Zem, do you want to talk about D4 and why you're really happy to see it?
I kind of wish that
Ultra
card
defense
didn't
and
exist.
ultra stomp. You get to finish out. You get to finish out this.
So let's count abilities. We have 8 points right here for those 2 pointers, then another 6 here, and then we have 10 points to spend for ultra defense. I no longer get to skip pickups because I really need a lot of XP here.
Yeah, and he's also going to be hoping that he finds the bonus pickup Spirit Light Efficiency, which stacks with the native Spirit Light Efficiency, but that is quite easily the worst thing that you can see in when going for a blackout. And Zem was actually talking to me a couple days earlier, asking me if, you know, maybe we could like reduce the odds of that showing up. And my response was, well, you know, not every bingo board is meant to be blacked out, and it's important to have bad squares. And I stand by that because this is hilarious.
So if
Hey, look, you got plenty of time.
if anyone wants to blame me for a 20-minute XP farming session, blame Eiko instead. She is the one who did this. She is responsible for this.
You didn't need sense. You could have just stopped at Spirit Light Efficiency. You'd have 7 more points. It would have been fine. Really, it was your greed in leveling it.
You know what? You now know the goal, so now you can still you still have plenty of time before we get to this estimate here. 50 minutes.
50 minutes. Yeah, we're fine. We're fine.
50.
Everything is
It's gonna
fine.
be fine. Maybe I can show her some funny stuff in our Truan when we're getting to that XP farm. But for now, let's talk about E5 and why that's a great place.
Oh, good. Oh wow. All right. E5 is basically a get either pickup square. And both those locations are bad. This is another one of those garbage location pickup squares from the board generation system. And it's got one of my favorite locations in the game, Valley Long Swim. This pickup is not something most players ever go for, and the reason is because it's slow and it's terrible. But it actually can come into logic relatively early, and
By the way, Zem just picked up a 100 XP pickup that is always 100 XP.
Yeah, that pickup is fixed, and one of the reasons it's fixed is because, or really the reason it's fixed is because it is glitched. It is due to a serialization bug in the base game. That pickup will always be there if you enter this general area with your game having been loaded from a far enough distance away. Conversely, if you die here or or quit to menu and reload with your save nearby, it will never be there. So one, admittedly very terrible method of farming EXP we might see Zem resort to, we're not going to see Zem resort to this, is just coming to that pickup far away, and ooh, that is a very nice warp. You may remember we had in that D1 square, die to the Forlorn Void. Zem is going to just very quickly grab that.
And that reveals our last square on the board.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's really good. That's really good. That's another one of those garbage pickup locations, except this time it's not or, it's get all 3 of these pickups. Richard, how do you feel about the Dwarf Experience, the Right Forlorn Health Cell, and the Sunstone Plant?
Those are all very great pickups that we'll get to see Zem get. So I'm excited. Yeah, the rest of the scene doesn't seem too bad, except for, you know, leveling up Ultra Defense and Ultra Stomp.
Yeah, this is good stuff. All right, Zem still doesn't have a method of interacting with walls, so he had to lure that Frankie into there so that he could get out of that little pit. Eventually, maybe we'll see Zem find either wall jump or climb or double jump, but not quite yet. Though, ooh, that is a sense reaction. I think it's to this pickup up here in this little small valley short swim. I like to call this pickup that Zem's about to get to. Am I wrong? Is that it?
Nope. And we finally have walls. After
45 minutes. We were 45 minutes into the siege. That's the halfway point. This is actually sort of intentional on either the randomizer or Zem parts, depending on what you call it. We have a bunch of different flags that you can play the randomizer with. One of them is wall starved. And what the wall starved variation does is it makes it extremely unlikely that the randomizer will put wall interaction. And that is actually Zem finishing 3 lines. That is what that message is for. 3 lines is the default sort of goal that we play bingo for, but because this is a showcase, we're actually going to do a full blackout of this bingo board. We get to see Zem suffer more, which really is what everybody wants to see.
Well, and this is actually more Ori content, which is, you know, always a good thing.
Yeah, more Ori, better Ori. In fact, why don't you know, it would make it even better if we just went for the full 256 pickups in the game, right? Right, guys?
Yeah, sure. Let me start by
if you want more Ori action, we could actually just play the second Ori after this.
Ooh, that makes sense. All right, Zem just got...
Great idea.
All right, neat. Zem just got jump grade, which is actually one of the last things that we added to Ori 1. Zem, show off your jumps. All right, so jump grade just makes your jumps go higher. Both like this normal jump, wall jump if he gets it, and charge jump are all affected by jump grade. And it's about a 25% increase in jump height per jump grade, which gets really silly with double jump especially. I hope Zem will find double jump soon, so we'll get... You just teleport to Sunken Glades?
Yep. So, since I have to go all the way to the Sunstone plant, and you made me suffer with the sport, we're gonna take a little shortcut.
All right, so Zem's cheating. I would like to point out here. What Zem's doing is...
This is a warp displacement here? Oh, did you get there in time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all right. So this is a fun little glitch where if you... Basically, when you teleport in this game, you can sort of get control of Ori before you... They're while teleporting, which you're not supposed to do. If you do that and you are not standing on a flat surface when you teleport, the normal force, anyone who's taken a physics class may or may not remember, normal force is the force that stops you from falling through the ground. The normal force on a platform gets very...
Spirit light efficiency?
Yes.
Oh my god, was that spirit light efficiency from the Sunstone location? Oh, that is incredibly valuable. That is going to make the experience farming much less terrible. Excellent work, Zem.
Yes,
but yeah, so
mandatory Sunstone check actually paid off this time.
Yep, super mandatory.
72 experience, which is actually like way more experience.
Yeah, we're multiplying all these by 3. We get 100% increased spirit light in Path of Exile terms for the 7 Path of Exile players here. 100% increased spirit light gained both from the spirit light efficiency in the tree and the spirit light efficiency that was on the Sunstone. And now Zem is here in Sorrow Pass, which is one of the final areas in the game. It's where you're in the base game get the charge jump skill and the key to the final dungeon, Mount Horu. And Zem's just gonna head over here, touch the tree, and going to get sense information on pickups above him. He's not going to easily be able to move upward from here though, because he doesn't have charge jump, so he's probably going to head down and clear out this area.
Yep, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm getting a bit more pickups here because, as we mentioned earlier, late game areas tend to have a bit more experience, and turns out I will really need a lot of the seeds, so I am clearing a bit more than I would on any other board here.
Yep. And that just gives us more time to talk about this game. How pretty it is. Go to stomp down here. And Zem is also going to be able to get his last, touch his last map stone to get that center square, going to bring him up to 5 lines, which is neat. However, there are 12 total lines for a Blackout. The goal is specifically touch mapstone altars, not turn them in. One of the things we tried to do in the design of the bingo goals is we tried to give players a lot of agency over the goals. So there isn't that much stuff that relies on finding specific pickups, especially pickups that can be difficult to find. There's more of a focus on going to locations and doing stuff at specific points. So that you can tend to route around a specific number of things. Zem is going to show off one of those like stomp techniques that we talked about earlier. This is a way of breaking this barrier over to the left without having bash. What he's going to do is just, oh no, I lied.
Nope, I used this for the seeding actually. So this frog, if you just get a bit high here, the frog shot should work anytime soon. Alright, and maybe I can sneak this to the left. So I want to talk a bit about maximum height of frog projectiles while I do this.
Oh yeah, so this game has a number of beautiful physics things, and one of them is that green frog shots, they basically have an arc that they intend to follow, and you can use bash to redirect them, but you can't use bash to redirect them indefinitely, and there's basically just a height past which a green frog shot cannot go, and that height is determined when that frog shot fires, and you can like try and push it up to the maximum. You can beg, plead, double bash all you want, it won't go any higher than that. So there are a lot of tricks that depend on being in a very specific position once the at the point where the frog shot begins to fire. That was one of them. There is one as part of the speed run where you just use a movement technique to blitz up way past a frog and then get it shot up. It's just sort of like a little neat weird thing that you'd almost never see or pay attention to in the vanilla game, but it does in fact matter a whole lot when you're playing the randomizer or doing speedrun.
Right, here we got another bonus pickup. We already had energy leech earlier, now we also get health back from attacking. That should mostly happen to lasers and other forms of instant kills now.
Yeah, it's difficult at this point, and it's difficult with Zem's current setup to like actually just die to damage. And it's actually even more difficult because he is missing the dash skill, which is one of the best ways to die, accidentally or intentionally die in the game. And now we have a warp that leaves Sorrow and takes Zem to an area that he hasn't actually explored. One of the nice things about bingo or playing with the warps in the item pool is that you can sometimes accidentally just find pickups that give you a nice routing option to let you leave an area you're mostly done with and check out an area you haven't gone to yet. It's sort of this sort of like fluid routing change that you have to adapt to on the fly as you're given this new information. And oh, this part of the map actually connects to this other part of the map.
And I'm just gonna do some pickup cleanup here. Again, I have a lot of ability cells to get, so I will take
12
any
out of
pickup
22?
that I can.
Or do we say you need 22 or 24? Counting's hard.
I wanna say it's 22 since I already spent 2, but I actually don't know myself. Counting is hard, as you just said.
We're both programmers. That means neither of us knows how to do math. Computers exist to do math for us. All right, underwater skill usage. This is another one of those silly bonus pickups that don't exist in the main game or really in the like standard randomizer item pool. And what that's gonna let Zem do is it's gonna let him throw grenades underwater, and once he gets dashed, it's also gonna let him dash underwater. It's kind of fun because underwater dash is like an actual skill in Ori 2, as we may see once it my turn to play the rando comes up.
Alright, I think I left one pickup behind in Grotto, which is over here. It is really horrible to get, but since I'm already
the bad
on the
pickup.
Way,
This is known as the bad pickup. Different people have different names for them. Some of them are not stream appropriate. But the important thing to know about this pickup is everyone tries to skip it because it's just not fun to get. And like even with this very nice. Oh no! What is this?
Oh hey Dash.
Oh my god!
What are you doing over here? All right then.
All
One
right,
more pick
now
up here,
Zem
but
that is a real thing that you could find at that location, I suppose. All right, dash is if dash isn't the best skill in the game, dash is. It's one of the two. In fact, if you want this, you can do like a little neat 6-character regex to define like unambiguously the best skill in the game. But dash lets you go fast. It also has a ton of movement glitch applications. Charge dash, which we saw Zem grab earlier, is the fastest like generally available movement technique for horizontal movement. And there's also some really ridiculous vertical movement that I think Zem is going to be showing off as he heads towards. Are you going to go into Misty or is it Forlorn time?
I think it's Fallen time first. If I find something useful on the way, that will make me very happy. Otherwise, we'll just go into Misty afterwards.
Yeah. So charge dash is the thing where Ori makes that like loud scream noise, and it moves you very fast. It costs an energy, but it sort of homes towards enemies, and it's very fast. And because Zem has that energy leech, he's going to get his energy back whenever he charge dashes something and deals damage to it, which means he basically can do infinite charge dashes. It's very disgusting, really ridiculous movement. The entire area is a blur. Zoom.
You also saw me do rocket jumps and meteor kicks on the way. So turns out charge dash kinda homes in on an enemy. If you cancel that with a jump, you get to keep homing in vertically, but the game kind of forgets to slow you down, and that makes you fly really fast.
Yeah, Ori 1 has a couple of these like same frame or frame adjacent tricks where you stack some actions on top of each other, and the end result is that the game doesn't apply a deacceleration curve it would otherwise apply. That is how rocket jumps work. It is also how grenade jumps work, and if Zem finds charge jump, which I suspect he might because he just has to go to so many places to get all this experience, he still needs another 12 ability cells before we're done here, or 12 ability points.
I think I got
you go
ultra defense, so I will need 9. But yeah,
Oh, counting hard.
I gotta get some stuff.
Yep. Alright, and so now we're in the Forlorn Ruins, one of the coolest dungeons in this game, in my opinion. Not everyone likes this. This is the area that has the upside down gravity puzzles, and in general, whether or not you like this area mostly hinges on whether or not you found those puzzles frustrating or not. It also, doing these puzzles the intended way can be very slow, and it can be really obnoxious because you can sometimes get seeds that require you to play through this dungeon in the intended way and require you to do a bunch of like very either slow movement or silly and risky movement. But Zem has so many movement options, he's not even gonna touch that orb. Instead, he's going to grab these pickups as fast as he can.
And I'm getting a lot of things that aren't XP, which is kind of sad. But yeah, this looks a lot like my and some other people's casual playthroughs when they came here already having the light burst skill, light grenade, which kind of invalidates most of the dungeons, sadly.
Oh, did you first play Ori the Definitive Edition? My first two playthroughs were before the Definitive Edition was out, and the non-Definitive Edition Ori doesn't have the dash or the light burst skills, which means that you have to play a lot more of the game as intended. The Blackroot Burrows area is where you get dash and light burst in the base game, and a side effect of that is you just don't need to, basically, when you use those skills outside of the outside of those areas, you can basically hey, you can take that warp to the Ginso escape and then go to the Lost Grove laser lever if you wanted.
You know what? I may show that off later. Sure, why not?
Alright, speaking of showing something off, Zem just did a charge dash away from a keystone door, and charge dash sort of changes Ori's hitbox from a horizontal, like a normal horizontal thing, into like this little flat thing. And in that specific case, you can hit the cutscene trigger for right after going through that door if you just do a charge dash right up against it. And because of that, Zem didn't have to open the door, though he may end up doing it on the way out. It's just sort of like a neat little thing you can do to avoid opening that door, which can be relevant both to save keystones and for key duping, which is a trick we didn't actually end up needing to do because of how many keystones he found.
Alright.
Yeah, here we're gonna
Making
see them
progress on
die to a
yeah,
laser.
this can be a square. Sadly, I already see all of the squares, so I can't use that as an excuse for dying here.
Oh no, it's habit, right? Like you just it's good habit to just die to that
You're
laser.
practicing for future seeds.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yes, of course. Thanks.
Yep. And Zem just got that right forlorn health cell, which does give him a bit more progress on the bingo card.
Right, we're getting really close to just needing 6 more ability cells, and just you know, may as well restart the escape. Maybe I get a bunch of XP after all. Alright, so if you don't wanna complete the escape, correct me if I'm wrong here, Echo, I can just use the save anywhere once I get the pickup text on top of my screen, and when I reload, I will still have the pickup. The escape gets locked permanently, but luckily we don't need to do that.
It's only locked permanently if you're playing by inbound rules. I think it's definitely technically possible to warp this place there. Maybe? I don't actually know. I would need to pull up Spines' editors. Wait, you show up there? What?
As a note, there's only one pickup at the end, but that pickup is purely information, right?
Yep, it is a hint that tells you what zone Grenade and Stomp are in, and the reason that exists is because Grenade and Stomp are pickups that like aren't really needed to get to most of the map, but they do uniquely lock out a whole bunch of different areas. There are a bunch of pickups that you can only get to behind a grenade switch, and there are a bunch of pickups that require Stomp to get to, and no other skills would suffice. So when we added in the 3.0 patch a goal mode called World Tour, which requires you going to a bunch of different basically find a randomized pickup in a bunch of different zones, we realized that to avoid having to do long, frustrating, and obnoxious clears just looking for Stomp or Grenade, it would be good if we had a way to just find that information out quickly. And well, not quickly, but a backup way to find that information. And there Zem is going to get that door warp experience. That's one of the last pickups in the game. And what that is good for, what that means is that as we're just pushing past the hour mark, Zem has gotten all of the squares except for that D4, Ultra Defense, Ultra Stomp.
Yes, I need 6 more ability sets. You know, we talked a bit about dash and underwater skill usage earlier. The original water dash, so to speak. I guess I can use that to get a few more pickups right here.
Yeah. Since this is the underwater area, swamp area that you go to right after escaping the Ginso tree in the vanilla game, and normally it's just sort of a slow, obnoxious area that you never want to go to because it's really annoying and you have to do a lot of slow swimming. But with underwater skill usage, it's not as slow. However, the game is not at all designed for you to be able to dash underwater, so there are a lot of spikes that Zem is just having a good time giving a hug to. And now he is only 2 ability points from the end of the seed.
Oh, when I counted the
Oh wait, I'm bad at counting. Oh, that was fascinating. That was an interesting hitbox. That's what am I going? Zem sort of dash into the crusher, and the crushers are only supposed to kill you when they squish you. But you know, sometimes they get a little eager beaver crushers, and
yes,
that happens.
As mentioned, you're not meant to be able to dash, and if you clip your hitbox into one of these crushers, well, you're inside the crusher, so obviously you just got crushed, right? And with that, I just lost my life there. Okay, so speaking of very dense areas, I think it's time to revisit the Ginso tree and do it backwards.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is one of the neat things that was added in 3.0. The dungeon teleporters were not included in the item pool, and the major reason for that was because in the base game, oh, you were right, I cannot count. Zem still needs another 5. In the base game, you cannot open these doors backwards, and there are additional doors that, like that teleporter that we saw Zem go through, is not. There's a door there that isn't open in the base game until after you do it. Zem's having a little fun running through this. And double jump. Zem actually has already picked up extra double jump in the skill tree and in the pickup, so he has 4 jumps, and we want to show off these. And these jumps go much higher than usual because of those 2 jump grades. It makes for some really funny movement.
In those keystones, I do want to point out that there was an ability cell in there too, which also helps out a lot.
Oh, hey, speaking of dense areas.
Yeah, You know, I'm gonna go get the 6 pickups below, and then we'll go out and maybe do some Misty movement.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if we need to. If Zem finds 2 more ability cells or enough experience, he is going to be done. But if not, he can head to Misty Woods, which I think is the only major zone we haven't been to so far.
Yes.
Another
Also,
ability
I need 3 more. So
Oh,
I think
counting's hard.
counting is hard. So I think we will get to see some Misty movement. Oh yeah. Also, do not go into the corners of this portal upwards, because for some reason you will end up between some doors and walls.
Yeah, the hitboxes for these little like teleporter squares in Ginto are a little scuffed because it's just, you know, it's sometimes hard to set up collision, and you're never intended to go through that door upwards. When you are first going through that area, you're coming through it from the bottom, and you've got double jump. That's what you have. Not a skill set capable of doing anything truly exceptional with, but you know, late game randomizer, that can be very different. And now Zem is here in Misty, and gosh, it is really easy to go fast. And he's got more extra double jumps because this is a bonus, or like a item pool that contains a lot of more bonus items than usual, and so we see him with lots of things like more extra double jumps. Very neat to have. He can basically just sort of fly through the air with these jumps, if he wasn't doing that already with Bash Grenade.
It's basically Bash Grenade, but fast. So that's always good to have. I think I need 2 more, so
Yeah.
maybe I can show... Oh wait, I need to come from the other side. I am not speedrunning right now, which means I don't have charge. I can show off some fancy tricks in Misty, I think, but otherwise it is more double jumps.
Did you have enough jumps? The game
Well,
didn't
now
think
I
so.
certainly do.
I think is that the maximum number of jumps you can get in the sea? I don't remember the specific item pool settings you're playing with.
I may be able to get 1 more, but we'll see.
It's definitely a lot. Or are you gonna show us the cool
Ability cell, nice.
yeah, 1 more. We are so close, everybody.
Ah,
Ooh, very close. So charge dash is very fast, and sometimes it is so fast that the collision of the game can't keep up. And so what Zem's trying to do here is show us a neat little nice bonus skill activation. Yeah, show us a
Nice.
it's the movement skills, yes. So movement bonuses, obviously, those tighter setups do no longer work. But yeah, if you stand in the corner, bash, and then charge dash, the laser just doesn't exist, which is a fun little thing.
yeah.
A lot of lasers work like that. And with this,
Ooh.
it is
There
time.
we go.
All right.
Oh, yep.
All right, Zem, you want to warp to credits? Yeah. This is the thing, one of the bigger things, and now we have the games credits and the random credits. Yeah, and now we have a little bit of time that we get to use, and I just wanted to say thank you to all of the names you're going to see here in this credit screen, everyone who's worked on the Ori 1 and Ori 2 randomizer, and everyone who's played it, the entire community. It's honestly, the entire Ori speedrunning community has been such an incredible part of my life in the last 3 years, and I am honestly just beyond grateful to have met and gotten to be a part of this community and gotten to know all the wonderful people in it.
Yeah,
Zem, you want to do any
you said
shout-outs?
I think you said that very well. Thanks for everyone who kind of took me in, taught me a lot of the tricks. Special shout-outs to Spinesheaf for finding a lot of very interesting randomizer techniques, to say the least. If you want to play this, I think this is the time to plug ogNdrahciR. This is where you can get it. It's fun, it's quick to set up. And otherwise, I think that's it for my run.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, that's oryrando.com, and there's just a lot of stuff there too. So it really doesn't matter how much experience you have with Ori either, because there's different things for different skill levels, right?
Yeah, we've got a casual skill, a casual logic mode that is really just designed for someone who's played the game once. And we also have a bunch of really cool tools to help people learn how to play. We have starter seeds that are designed to help explain or help teach you the base mechanics of the game and the randomizer. And we also have a really cool tool called the tracking map, which will show you in real time where you are in the game and what the randomizer expects you to be able to get at any given time. And you can use that to keep track of what items you can or should be able to get and check that whenever you're stuck and where you need to go next.
And I want to just have everyone be sure to go follow Zemsis as well as Ico the Blue. You know, they do a lot of Ori stuff, so it's really cool. All right, as we close up the credits here, I just want to remind people of a couple announcements that we have here for GDQ. If you missed any of the runs from AGDQ 2021 online, or want to watch any previous Hotfix shows, you can go to youtube.com/gamesdonequick and check out an archive of our live shows. And again, with GDQ Hotfix is a series of shows that happens every week here on Games Done Quick. All of the information of the different Hotfix shows is available at gamesdonequick.com/hotfix. And with this, we have one more run for Game Masters tonight, but that's actually not all that we have. We're going to have Will the Wisps bingo coming up next, but we also have Challenger approaching starting at 10 p.m. Eastern with Paper Mario and the 1,000-Year Door. So yeah, with that, we're going to be taking a quick break here as we get to the end of the credits of Ori 1, and we're going to be setting up for Will the Wisps, and we're going to be doing a little bit different bingo on that, but we'll explain that after the break. So yeah, we're just going to be right back, and I want to remind everyone that all of the subs, gift subs, Prime Gaming subs, and bits cheered on the GDQ Twitch channel for the month of January are still going to be donated to the Prevent Cancer Foundation. So there's still a chance that we can get to a $3 million total for the event, because it's at $2.77 million right now. So yeah, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Game Masters, a show where we like to show off things that maybe aren't quite speedrunning. And we're going to be starting here with Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Cinco Bingo. Going to be trying to complete 5 lines here in just a minute or two. But before that, a couple quick announcements is after this, we will be having Challenger approaching, and that's going to be featuring Paper Mario and the 1,000-Year Door. So stay tuned for that. You know, Game Masters and Challenger approaching have a very similar theme that has a lot of challenge runs in it. So, you know, maybe something that's not typically just, you know, kind of going through a run. And so be sure to stay tuned for that. ADEF's going to be having Reed on to do that. And I want to remind everyone, if you're watching on YouTube and you'd like to support our live content, please consider checking out our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/GDQ. If you have a Amazon Prime account, you can subscribe to any Twitch channel of your choice every month for free. Please consider using your Prime Gaming account to subscribe to the GDQ Twitch channel. And with that, I am joined by both the people that were in the previous run, except Ico is going to be running this time, and Zemsis is going to be commentating. So how are both of you doing?
I'm doing great. That was a lot of fun. Zemsis showed us a lot of really cool stuff in Ori 1, and I'm excited to show off Ori 2 Bingo. Zem, how you doing?
I'm still doing great. That was a very fun siege, even though the board was a bit on the longer side. So yeah, I'm ready to see what you will do to Will of the Wisp after that.
Yeah. All right. So this is Ori 2 Bingo. I will give us a countdown, and then we can get started and talk a little bit about the differences between this mode and the other mode. So let's start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So Ori 2, a bit of a different game than Ori 1. One of the things that's different about it is we can actually go left or right at the start. Because the first weapon that you get in Ori 2 is not something that you get for a long time. Instead of making it so that in Ori 1 we made it so that sign is never randomized. In Ori 2 we just make it one of the options is that you can just start with this sword. Sword is a melee weapon, unlike sign. Ori 2, one of the main differences is that the combat in the game is just a lot more interesting and varied. In Ori 1, combat is just not really an important part of the game. In Ori 2, that's very different. We have boss fights that aren't just run away from this boss or hit this enemy a few times. And we also just have a lot more options for combat. And these melee weapons are actually really nice for movement. Zem, do you want to talk
already... Sure.
Yeah, go for it.
I'll talk a bit about sword here. You may already see Eiko kind of sword swing a bit in the air from time to time. This will allow her to keep more horizontal momentum, or rather get more horizontal distance. There's also an up slash, which gives you just a little bit of a bump you sometimes need to clear an obstacle. And all that makes sword already a really powerful skill to start with, and we're gonna see her use that to traverse these starting areas. For those of you who have played Will of the Wisp, you may notice there is no rain here, and everything looks bright and happy. I want to talk a bit about what we did here with the randomizer.
Yeah, we made a lot of changes to Ori and the Will of the Wisp to make it randomized better, and one of the things that we did is by default you start the game in a post-prologue prologue-y state in a lot of ways. You start with sword and you start with the rain cleared from this area. There are a couple reasons for that, and that's actually optional, but it makes it so that you can traverse these areas in more traverse this Inkwater Marsh starting area in a more free and open way. Speaking of Inkwater Marsh, you may have seen me talk to an NPC. That was Lupo. He is the map maker, and he sells map pickups. And in the base game, that just like gives you information about where the pickups are and how the map is laid out. In the randomizer, much like the changes we did for the purple tree, it doesn't make a lot of sense to for a thing that you play repeatedly to sell access to where the map is. So what Lupo sells instead are hints about how many key items are in an area. Key item is defined as a skill or clean water making a return in Ori 2. So we got the information that there are 3 key items in Marsh, which is a nice thing to see. There are 22 key items in the game total, and one of the things that the seed generator had a problem with, especially in the early days, was clumping key items in Marsh. So you would see things like 8, 9, or 10 key items in Marsh, but we have a nice spread of them all throughout the map.
Yeah, we did have a very small kind of basic logic accessible tournament once, and the highest I have seen there was, I think, 13 key items in Marsh. Things got better
more than
over
half
time.
the game. Yeah, more than half the base items in the game just hanging out in Inkwater Marsh, or the key items in the game hanging out in Inkwater Marsh. So one of the things we didn't get a chance to talk about yet is the difference in bingo goal mode. So this is Cinco Bingo instead of Blackout, and it's also not Discovery Bingo. The main reason this isn't Discovery Bingo is we haven't implemented Discovery Bingo in Ori 2 yet. Zem actually offered to do what we like to call any % development, where he would just cobble together a implementation of Discovery Bingo, but he offered this on Sunday, and we didn't think, after discussing it a bit, that it made a lot of sense to build a feature on Sunday and then play it in a showcase on Friday, because we're cowards at heart. So I'm going to open this door and pick up this Regenerate skill. Zem, do you want to talk about Regenerate and why you like it and got a lot of use out of it in your base playthrough of the Ori randomizer?
Well, actually, you found Water Dash, and Regenerate is a myth and does not exist. I and some other people I know of kind of never found this tree, or rather thought it was a location we already visited, so we just kind of hovered over it on our way there through the base game and thought difficulty was really good, and it was nice to have all these tight platforming challenges, only to then, after we finished our casual playthrough, open up a stream and see this great ability that lets you just restore health whenever you want to. However, what you found there on the Regenerate tree was Water Dash, if I saw that correctly. Water Dash, a thing we kind of had as a custom bonus pickup in Ori 1, now with a less clunky implementation.
Yeah, Water Dash is one of the new skills added in Ori 2, and it lets you dash through the water. I don't want to touch this water because it's dirty, but we will, after finding clean water, find lots of opportunities to use Water Dash. Ooh, that is uncomfortable a little. I'm going to try and do a little bit of that sword hovery movement to get to this pickup here. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you can see there the horizontal slash is kind of keeping the height, and then one up slash per touching the ground to get a little bit of extra height to allow easier movement through this area. And then you should normally have without an extra jump or anything like that. Alright, we are coming up to the vanilla sword tree here.
We got a little bit of a cutscene to skip. And there are a bunch of walls in this area, and I'm making sure to go around and kill more of them than I would usually. And the reason is because, as you can see on the board, we have that D4 square, break walls. There are 30 walls that we need to break to get that goal. This game is full of walls. There's over 70. It's not going to be a problem to get those, but it's nice to get progress on those early. I'm going to then continue making my way through this area and basically head over to the double jump tree and complete out this prologue area. Getting a bunch more Spirit Light. Spirit Light in this game isn't used to level up like it is in Ori 1. Instead, it is used as a currency. We'll be using it to buy maps, using it to buy items from the shopkeepers, and also potentially using it to buy hints for the locations of some of the important skills in the game.
Yeah, we already saw that in rank. Oh, and we get some double jump. So now double jump sword sounds like such a small moveset, but this already allows, with the addition of hovers, for access to large amounts of the early game areas.
Yep. Double jump and sword are the two pickups that you're supposed to get in this area, and they are actually have a lot of incredible synergy. Double jump is one of my favorite combat abilities, and that sounds very silly, but when we next enter a combat-y area, I will show you exactly what I mean by that, because they have a lot of really powerful synergy. First thing I'm going to do, though, is drop this rock down here and use it to get to this keystone over here. You can, if you have practiced this movement a fair bit, save a few seconds by not pushing the rock at all and just doing some sword hovers. I unfortunately have spent a lot more time developing this randomizer than playing it, and as a result, my movement in some of these areas is a little bit sketchy. So we will not see me going.
I actually want to bring that up because you had actually thought about Ori 2 rando development before the game came out, right?
Oh yeah, this was something we planned on doing for a while, and we decided in advance to do a bit of a little obscure speedrun. This is actually one of the only speedruns I've ever done. I currently have 0 runs on my speedrun.com profile because I joined the community through the randomizer and really just enjoy it a ton. But I did get to participate in the blind co-op any % randomizer development for Ori and the Will of the West, and together with Zemsys, we had the world record of 16 days from when the game came out to when we had a first usable randomizer version, and it was terrible, let me tell you.
Man, that was a joy. We kind of got a little shock when we, on the evening of the game's release, when we kind of finished our 100% playthroughs and tried to open the code like we would do with Ori 1, we got a small shock because there was no code you could open or look at in any form. So yeah, instead we got to learn quite a few new things and pulled off a really fragile stick together but actually working randomizer version after just over 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was actually kind of scary at first because the Ori 1 randomizer was, I won't say straightforward to develop, but working with the code of Ori 1 was a lot easier due to the way the game was made. Ori 2 uses, I'm not going to get into the technical details, but uses a slightly different system. And as a result, it is a lot harder to just get access to the code and edit things in it. We flailed around for a while and eventually were joined by the third, basically I would say major developer of the Ori and the Will of the Wisp randomizer, Moonwolf. is his Twitch name. He may be in chat. Hey there, Wolf. If you are, I am going to not buy anything from the shopkeeper. And he was able to build us what is essentially a fully functional mod loader for Ori and the Will-o-the-Wisps. And we really would not have half of any of the features we have without him. This randomizer would still be an incredible glitchy mess. It's still, I would say, a tool that is in beta. We have a lot of features that we plan to use, but it is so much better now than it was in those first 3 months before Wolf joined our development team.
Yeah, we got a bunch of first-time language users basically, and Wolf actually kinda is professional at all of that stuff, so that was a lifesaver there. Thanks again, Wolf, for kinda pulling us out of there.
All right, so back to the game. I am trying to get past this initial Inkwater Marsh area because I have 2 out of the 3 skills that key items that spawn there. But the first thing I'm going to do is bring this little friend. It's not quite a Frankie, but this is still essentially a Frankie lure. This was like one of the first times that you run into this when you're playing the base game, and it's just sort of like a nice little shout out to Ori 1. You can still use these guys to break those platforms. I'm going to use him to get myself down there, get that pickup, and I have double jump so I can make my way over here and get the little EXP he was guarding. Sorry, not experience. Spirit Light. It's not experience because it doesn't level you up. Important technical difference. All right, now we are going to one of the combat shrines, which is again something that like Ori 2 has. Ori 2 has a lot more of a focus on combat than Ori 1 did. It was something that devs explicitly called out. They felt that they didn't do a good job with the combat in Ori 1. But in Ori 2 is very different. So I'm going to do this combat shrine and show off that thing I was talking about with sword and double jump. Basically, every time you hit an enemy with the sword, it resets your double... Ooh, I'm actually taking more damage than I want to be because I'm exploiting the thing. But it resets your double jump and gives you... lets you fly... jump again, and then every time you double jump, it cancels your sword 5/ animation, so you can just sort of repeatedly hit things. And the combination of those 2 things... Ooh, okay, now I need to be careful so I don't die. Because I don't have regenerate like I should in the base game, these combat shrines are a bit more fraught because these enemies won't drop any health or energy like normal enemies will. You just get energy between the fight rounds, and that is intended to be sufficient, and you're supposed to use that energy to heal. I'm trying to get this guy to dash at me, but I'm just going to hit him twice because they only have 8 health. Now, this enemy
I don't know
spawns here.
what you're talking about. I thought it was intended to never heal these.
Alright, and then we have one more mosquito. This is one of the 20 health ones, so I'm going to want to not jump into him when he jumps, and make sure I get 2 more hits on him so I don't have to do all this over again. 1, 2, 3, and we're good. And we get this pickup here, and it was just experience. But you know, it's important to have experience. And by experience, I of course mean money.
Yeah, on the lower path difficulties or radar logic difficulties of the randomizer, we do actually require regenerate for the randomizer to force you to do these. Because as you could just see, Aiko has a lot of experience with this game already, and she still got very dangerously low there.
I will admit though that combat has never been my forte. I definitely have a bit more of the Ori 1 approach to combat, which is combat. What's that? It's a lot of fun though, even when you're not great at it, in my opinion. Okay, so we got this pickup, and we are about to leave this Ori 2, or leave this starting area of Inkwater Marsh, and head into the first, I would say, like sort of mini dungeon area of Qualix Hollow. Though we're not going to be doing most of it. And the reason we're not going to be doing most of it is because we're using a bit of a slightly non-standard set of configuration options, and one of the ways it's non-standard is the door to Qualix Hollow isn't locked by bow the way it typically is. And the reasons for that are a bit complicated, but it's essentially comes down to it doesn't work as well for bingo to have a bunch of, or to have access to the left side of the map be locked by bow. Going to get a careful jump out of here.
And this is a very precise jump. You need the double jump and then the upswing to get that little bit of extra height I talked about earlier, and Aiko does it cleanly. You may also notice the state of this area is a bit different to when you normally come here. We kinda went ahead and drained the water from the beginning, so don't always have to climb up there, pull the lever, yada yada.
We're gonna open this door and talk to the shopkeeper that sells a bunch of items. We'll see what he has. Ooh, there is, oh wow, that's a lot of very powerful things. All right, so he is selling bash and hammer and regenerate. And some health
that
fragments.
is a high value shop right here. So yeah, we decided that since we have shops, and it's also kind of interesting to have these really dense checks in the game, to randomize the pickups on shops, and in that case we got really lucky there and got 3 key items right there inside the same shop.
And
So wanna talk
one
a
of
bit
those
about the hammer floats you're doing here?
Yeah, this is very good intended base game movement. You can cancel a hammer animation or right after using it, and the hammer has this like really floaty swing, and you can right after doing a hammer animation in the air jump and then use the hammer again, and it will preserve the momentum of the hammer swing into the jump, and it looks very silly and it's very nice. Gives you a lot of vertical access. You can use it with double jump to get to a lot of places. I'm going to use it to skip this boss here, and also just sort of bypass the fact that I don't have dash. Okay, cool. I avoided the boss.
So you're using bash here, and bash gliding still in the game, where you kind of float a bit longer by not pressing any directions after bashing. It keeps your momentum. However, there are some pretty huge changes to bash between the two Ori games. Want to talk a bit about them?
Yeah, so I would say the biggest change between Bash and Ori 1 and Ori 2 is that, or from a casual perspective definitely, is that Bash doesn't deal damage anymore. And that is, casually it can be a bit of a like shock, but from a speedrun perspective, it's actually really great. It means you can move enemies around get them wherever you want, and you're not in any danger of them running out of health. We actually had a bonus skill in Ori 2 that them sort of pestered me, or was it you? We had... but it basically stops Bash from, prevents Bash from dealing damage to let you move enemies longer distances. And in Ori 2, it just does that by default. Another difference, this one isn't as fun, and a lot of veteran Ori 1 players, including myself, struggled a lot to get used to this, is that Bash has, in Ori 1, has what we call a pretty big buffer time. And what that means is that when you can press the button for a Bash, and you get like almost a full second between when you press that button and when a projectile or bashable thing comes into range. And after that, in that second, like anytime within that second, if something comes into range, you can just have that queued bash fire. In Ori 2, there's still a bit of a bash buffer, but it is much slower, and you have to be a lot more exact about using bash, which, as Zem can tell you, can be a little frustrating, especially to get used to. Right, here I'm still going to be trying to avoid touching the ground. The ground is lava. The ground is a boss, actually, which is way worse than lava. Lava just kills you, but
time.
Yeah.
Which is way worse. Also, you may have seen me earlier double bash, single projectiles or enemies all over the place. Yeah.
Not a thing anymore. They fixed that.
So you
can't do that anymore.
Oh yeah, I mean, two sides of the same coin. Like, it's a broken movement technique that's very fun to do, but it also invalidates a lot of movement, and it's not, in the base game especially, in the randomizers this isn't as much of a problem. In the base game especially, it is the single biggest source of disparity between controller runners and keyboard and mouse runners, because there's a trick that makes double bashing very difficult, or there's a input thing you can do that makes double bashing very easy on the keyboard and mouse, and no such equivalent strategy for controller runners.
There is thank you to Infinite, who was in chat earlier, but it does require 2 binds on your right analog stick, which, you know, having multiple binds set up is very important in Ori 1, so, you know, sometimes it's hard to sacrifice those 2.
Yeah, key binding economy in Ori 1, or like key bind economy in Ori 1 is like a very real thing. So I'm doing a lot of hammer floats to get to a bunch of pickups in this Wellspring Glades area. This is the sort of town hub in the game, and there are a bunch of pickups here, both like to start with, and a bunch more that are unlockable with that Gorlick ore resource you may have seen me pick up. I actually need to tab a bit so I can get my tracker visible. See how many ore I have. Neat. I have 4 ore. With 4 ore, I can get the first building project done. I need to go the long way around this, actually. To get this pickup up here. Zem, you remember what the first builder pickup is, right?
Right? Yes, absolutely. I remember a lot of things. Like for
All right,
example,
well-
how we changed logic to accommodate for the ability to do projects in a different order.
Oh yeah, the logic for the things in this area is very forgiving. You can spend your you're allowed to spend your Golek ore in basically the least efficient method possible. And that is very good because otherwise you would have a problem where you might soft lock people. Anyways, here we have this house that I've built, and this guy is going to give me a key for his family's old house, and he's going to ask me to go get his old family, and that's going to go really great. I wouldn't worry about that. But in the meantime, I'm going to be breaking this open and heading through this area, grabbing another one of those pickup or Gorlick ore locations before I head towards the wellspring.
So the wellspring that's coming up is kind of a little bit of a throwback to the Ginso tree from Ori 1. The same kind of water aesthetics, very vertical dungeon. And if we kind of look at the board, there's also some stuff to be done in there.
Yep, we've got a fight room in the wellspring, and I am struggling to read. It's just that fight room, right? It's the only wellspring specific goal.
Yes,
Not blind.
it's the fight room, as well as just some general pickup checking of specific types. We still use those cards. They make for some interesting routing.
I am struggling a bit with these hammers. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I have enough money to go buy some weapon upgrades from Offer the Weapon Salesman. He has a lot of things on offer. Very funny Moon Studios, your jokes, we love them. I actually didn't get that joke in my vanilla playthrough and struggle not to call him Ofer, because that's how I think his name looks like it should be pronounced, but the intended pronunciation is indeed Offer.
All
right, so
just
we're
learned a new thing. So, speaking of weapon upgrades, not all of these should exist. We did some extra stuff.
The hammer speed upgrade that I just bought is not in the base game. It's something we added in the randomizer, and it is really fun. It just increases the speed at which you swing your hammer, which also increases the or decreases the lag time for doing this hammer float, which I really like because I am used to doing it with that bonus pickup, and I have a much better average success rate at doing this trick with this thing, and I'm going to use that to get up to this house. Oh wait, no, you need to do that from here.
And yeah, for now we're gonna just see some of this basic jumping and weapon movement. Sadly, there is nothing here to bash around to help us, and as we mentioned, no double bashes means no just taking a projectile from a bit nearby to help out with this. So instead, Echo here is just gonna do some more weapon floats and get up here for this Golek location. Sense, which sounds great if you know Ori 1, Rando, sadly does not have the same feature here. So it's kind of a worthless pickup.
Oh, I didn't take spike damage. Those are friendly spikes. Interesting. Alright, so going to make my way towards the Wellspring Glades. Towards the Wellspring. There are a couple pickups I can get here that are in logic, and there are a few more that I can get that are not in logic. I'm gonna go underwater here and see what this pickup is, or try to anyways. That Ultra Bash shard that I just got up, green text from the pickup indicates a shard. Ultra Bash is the shard that makes bash deal damage, which is to say it's not very useful. I want to get an autosave. Ori 2, this is a difference, maybe we should have mentioned earlier. Ori 2 has autosaves instead of soul links. And one of the neat things about autosaves is there's a minimum health you can respawn from. So I actually just died on purpose so that I could have 4 health going into this movement setup that I'm going for. So that I could survive taking a damage. Touch this wall, and walls refresh your double jump, which means I can now get over to this pickup. And it was a health fragment, so now I'm at full health.
Yeah, one thing we changed, there were half health cells in the in the base game, and it kind of felt a bit underwhelming and annoying to keep track of, to get those in the randomizer. So instead of requiring you to get 2 for 1 half cell, we just give you the half cell directly.
Yeah. So in the base game, as I mentioned, it's instead of like half health cells, it's a health fragment, and 2 health fragments make 1 health cell. Here we just give you half a health cell, and you get the bonus right away. It's nice to have. So this is the wellspring. Note lots of dirty water. What we're going to be doing here is cleaning the water, or what we would be doing if this were a vanilla playthrough is cleaning the water. However, clean water may or may not be here. We'll have to find out. But we are going to be checking out this dungeon. This is one of my favorite areas in Ori 2. It's a blast. I love the level design. I love the puzzles. I love the music. And ooh, I just got Shuriken, which is an ability that is intended as a weapon, but you can do some movement things with it. And it's primarily going to be used by me to clip through walls, which is neat.
Yeah, going back to the music, this area actually has probably my favorite Overworld soundtrack, and it's just also very aesthetically pleasing to look at with all the blue. But that's just a personal opinion. Back to Shuriken. Shuriken can be used for multiple things. One is breaking walls from the wrong side. We will see that pretty soon because there are such walls in the Wellspring.
Okay. What? How? Okay, I think I'm probably just gonna reload.
That's for the better.
This has never happened before. I just sort of got clipped out of bounds by that wheel. Never seen that happen before. It's exciting, but you know, it happens. All right, so now we're back here. Don't mind me.
So yeah.
Hammer floats actually sort of you lose your momentum if you actually hit something with the hammer. So if you can use them as a combat technique because they are, I think, in some ways slightly faster than swinging your hammer, but it stops being a good movement technique if you do that, which I think is fascinating. Interesting little trade-offs.
So as we see all these weapon-based movement techniques, want to talk a bit about the different logic modes that we currently have in the Will of the Wisp randomizer.
Yeah, so the Will-O-Wisp randomizer is still definitely under active development. We are not yet out of beta. One of the main reasons for that is we don't have a good website. But one of the other reasons for it is the logic is still definitely coming together. It is a massive project to write logic for this game. Honestly, it was a massive project to write logic for the Ori 1 randomizer, and it was something Sigma signed, who developed the entire Ori 1 randomizer by himself, and now works for Moon Studios and was a part of the development of this game, so that's actually really sweet. But Sigma did, in large part, the logic for the Ori 1 randomizer by himself, and that was mostly true until 3.0 when we did a community effort to write logic. Ori 2 has not twice as many, but almost, it has near 400 pickups to Ori 1's 256, and it also has much more larger game areas, and there's a lot more to keep track of in the logic. So writing the logic has really been a communal effort, and it's been actually something that, I've done a lot of the organizational work for. I think, honestly, the bulk of the credit should go to both everyone in the Ori radar development server who has the pathfinding role, and especially Sirius Ashling, who I'm not sure if he is watching because it is very late for him, but has done an incredible amount of work writing paths, validating other people's paths, and helping shape the discussions about what should and shouldn't be in logic and what we should put where. We have we currently have 2 difficulties. We have basically a base difficulty that's just stuff that you are required to, or stuff that you would do in the base game, and we also have a difficulty that we are just finishing up, which includes things like the weapon movement. It does not include things like this very silly trick that you see me doing now, using the light burst skill. Then we want to talk a bit about light burst, how it's different from Ori 1, and then I can talk about these floats that I'm doing, because I know these aren't quite your forte.
Sure. So when we got light burst casually, we kinda got stuck a bit because you need to actually charge it up if you want to use bash in combination with it in this game, and you can also only have one such bashable grenade running at the time. After a while, though, a trick got discovered called grenade floats. Basically, if you charge grenades, the game often forgets to give you deceleration, as with many other movement-based glitches. So if you jump and start a grenade throw on the same frame, you get those flows you can see Aiko doing here. Then if you have a double jump, you can cancel your grenade and start another one of those, as long as you have 2 jumps remaining. And turns out grenade is a very powerful skill in this randomizer.
Yeah, it's very different from how it's powerful in Ori 1. It's honestly, it's not just that you have to charge it, making it awkward in as far as like bashing. It's you can't throw it at a minimum distance, which makes it harder to use in like little tight corners. But the fact that you can do these grenade floats really makes up for all of that. They're very silly, fun to do, and they look really silly, which is, in my opinion, a huge plus. You're just going to see me doing a lot of this until unless we find some better movement techniques. But for now, I'm going to be grabbing a bunch of pickups in this wellspring area, not because I think there's progression here. We actually just got a hint that gave us the knowledge that there isn't any more key items here, but it's still going to be important to grab a bunch of stuff in this area because I need a lot of spirit light for some of the things that I'm going to be doing later.
Yeah, also, while hints do tell you about the key items you get, teleporters are technically not key items, but can be progression. So sometimes it's a bit of a gamble how much you wanna trust the hint for 4 key items or even 0 key items to decide whether you're checking an area or not.
Alright, so this is a fun little glitch that actually I was reminded yesterday. Takes advantage, is sort of very fragile code-wise, but basically every other shuriken you throw for code reasons can clip through walls in sort of a rather fragile way. Okay, I need to die again because the positioning on this wall specifically is really rather awkward, but you can throw shurikens through walls in some cases, and this lets you break one-way walls from behind. There we go, first try. No problems here. Alright, and that's going to let me get this pickup, and I will also head over this way and see what's down. Do a water dash or poison water. That, and we're good. And it's just spirit light, but spirit light is very valuable.
It's kind of interesting to see how we have water dash but no normal dash. It was quite some effort to make that actually work in the game, but
oh yeah, that was
does allow for some interesting things to happen.
Yeah, that was one of the first things that one of our like first really obnoxious major glitches that Zem was able to fix, and we are all very grateful because it was so obnoxious having to search the entire map for dash to use either water dash or one of the other skills we'll see later called burrow, which is required to finish the game typically.
Yep, most people, not everyone, but most people play with a no out of bounds rule set for randomizer, and you cannot complete the final dungeon without having burrow, so getting to do an extra search wasn't the most fun of things there.
Oh, I only had 15 health. I knew that. One of the things that Moon changed between Ori 1 and Ori 2 was basically how much health one health cell represents. In Ori 1, it's basically 1 damage, but in Ori 2, it's sort of subdivided more, which is really neat because it means that basically each health cell is represents 10 damage, and it means that they can like break things down, and instead of having fractional damage dealt, things instead deal basically 3, 5, or 10 damage, which is much easier to work with. I'm going to actually use grenade the way it's intended to instead of in this stupid floaty technique, so I can get up here. I lied, I'm also going to use the floaty technique. Because I'm basically bypassing the intended skill for this dungeon, which is grapple, and we're going to see a bit more bypassing of that later, though I'm not going to do this entire area without it. But it is important because I want to get that Wellspring access room card, or Wellspring wheel room access card before I leave this area.
Yeah, that shouldn't take too much longer here. I think it's pretty much at the beginning of the next room. Yeah, Aiko's taking an intentional death here because falling down is not that easily recoverable with the skills we have right now, especially without having grapple. So
Yeah, it's a much
getting
worse time
back up
loss
to the
then.
poles.
I need to do a grenade float there specifically. Okay, so I'm going to head in here. I'm gonna kill this vine here real quick so it doesn't get in my way while I'm doing another one of those shuriken clips. That's not shuriken. There we go.
So yeah, shuriken,
And-
very good skill, can also be used to kind of stall in the air, but what most people probably use it most for are those wrong side wall breaks. Very useful and not in the lowest dungeon setup.
Yeah. Now we have that fight room I was talking about. This is going to be me just using sword, and hammer is really nice. It's slow, it's a bit slow even with that hammer speed upgrade a bit, but it's really good at stunning enemies and getting them right where you want them to more easily dispatch them with the other skills, and that is going to be that A1 square.
Very nice.
Unlocked. Yep. And after this, I think what I'm going to want to do is go back into Inkwater Marsh and check out pickups there that I couldn't get before. And actually, I'm going to go for that center square also in the Howl's Den area now that I've Bash.
Right. One thing we haven't talked at all about is we did not implement an Alt-R for this game. If you remember, in Ori 1, we kind of had the simulated save and quit and go back to the beginning where you pressed Alt-R and it just took you to the spawn of the game. This game has a feature where you can unlock the ability to teleport to any unlocked teleporter, basically as long as you're not swimming. We decided to just unlock that from the start to kind of replace the old Alt-R feature.
Yep, and that it's actually really neat. It means that we don't have to have that like interrupting gameplay flow in as much, and it also is like sort of a nice little. Can I get back? No, I'm gonna. I want to die, and I want to die before I get an autosave, so I'm just gonna let these enemies kill me because I'm pretty sure there's an autosave at that teleporter. I'm trying to, before I leave, get access to a bunch of pickups over on the right wall. Okay, yes, there's an autosave here. And we're just gonna up. And up again. Oh, that one canceled early, and I don't know why.
So yeah, those grenade floats are technically one frame presses. They need to be same frame, otherwise you're gonna fall off. And some spikes have a really huge knockback, which while a lot of spikes can be cancelled by just swinging your weapon, not every spike knockback can. And you kind of saw the result of what happens there.
Yeah, it's really obnoxious, honestly. Okay. Got that pickup, and now there's a few others over here I'm gonna want to grab on my way out, and then I'm gonna teleport out and get back to looking for progression. Ah, my bones. You're supposed to have grapple to do this, but you really don't need it. You don't even need these grenade floats, they just give you easier access. Same with a hammer float. Alright, so there's this. And then I can just go grab the down left wall pickups. Right wall, left and right are different directions.
Yep. Also, that collect ore square is always a thing to keep in mind while going around these areas, especially with a number as high as 22.
22 is a little over half the ore in the game, which is, sometimes a bit yikes, but we can definitely handle that. And then one last thing I'm gonna do here is fall into the water and die. Actually, what I wanted to do though is get an autosave so that I could get. Okay, so let's get this autosave. I have water dash, which means I can go a fair bit of distance underwater as long as I'm quick about it. And there's an underwater pickup here I'm interested in checking, so I'm going to do that. Now that I have gotten this, it's right here on the map, so we're just going to sort of dash in. And it's just an ore. I'm not going to be able to get out with that, but good to know that it's not a teleporter or something else I really want to have. Anyways, it's time to go back to Inkwater Marsh.
Yeah, it is good to keep in mind if we ever get stuck on 21 ore, but
Yeah, it's not a
Finding
big
clean
deal.
water would also be pretty nice.
Yep. We are currently in a bit of an explore mode, and actually this is a good time for me to show off one of the really neat features we have built directly into the base game of Ori 2 Rando, because we have this feature that I'm about to show off would not at all be possible without Moonwolf's help, so another shout out to him. This is the logic filter. This is a basically thing that we have built into the game that just shows you what pickups the game can expect you to get. It is just a map filter that you can just toggle to, and it will show you in real time what the game expects you to get. It is a huge help for learning the game. It is a huge help for me because despite having spent a lot of time developing the randomizer, I actually don't know the logic that much better than most other players because I am not one of the people working on the logic, and it is just incredibly nice to just be able to press tab, open that, and just see what is expected of you. Note that this is a feature that can be disabled in race mode. We don't typically have this enabled for the weekly races, but it is something that I wanted to be able to show off here, so we have it enabled for this seed here.
Alright, and with this we can come back to our shop found abilities to clean up Marsh. I think there was one key item missing here, so
Yep.
maybe we'll find that. Otherwise, there's always the option to go over to Midnight Burrows, ring the bells to get the spare, and then explore that area.
Yep, and that is the plan unless I find something really good. I'm gonna fall down here, but that's okay because I have double jump grenade floats, then I can just make it back up. Everything is fine. And life harvest. If you see something with green text and we don't talk about it, almost certainly what that is it's just a bad shard that we don't care about. The game has, instead of the like skill tree, it has these like 40 odd shards, and some of them are really interesting, and when I get a good one, I will like talk about it and be happy about it. Most of them are pretty bad though, especially in the randomizer, so we're just not going to be using a lot of them. We have like, we talked about at one point vague plans to just sort of like add extra just like bonus shards as like an alternative to bonus skills, but we have a lot of other things to work on in the randomizer, a lot of other features we want to finish making, and haven't gotten around to it yet, though it may happen. I'm gonna head down here. Break through. Oh, you know what I should do? I should break these walls backwards. Gherkin is a valid tool for this. Okay, and
You can
that is
already
going to
see
give me...
the wall hitboxes are a bit finicky. You kinda can't just throw it at the bottom, you need to be on certain heights of the wall, and I don't see a lot of people getting it right every time, but you can kinda tell when it works and when it doesn't really.
Some of them you actually cannot get every time because the way that the... Okay, I need to get off that spike. The way that the trick works is it requires... I already mentioned this, I bet. It basically requires the memory pool... It basically requires one of them to already be used for the memory pool of the projectile to be occupied. Wolf can explain this better than I can. Hey Wolf, you should explain the technical details of this trick in chat. That'd be funny. Okay. Anyway. There's one more pickup I can get down here in this Howl's Den area, and actually there are two. There's a combat shrine down here, but I don't think I'm going to do it just yet. Not on the card. Kind of annoying. Actually, you know what? We'll do it. Just in case. Getting close on that collect items card, which is kind of neat. Going all the way around here to avoid having to open that keystone door, and I'm going to do a stomp here. Get this pickup here, and it's Wing Clip. Wing Clip is one of those shards that I'm actually going to equip. Wing Clip is deal double damage to flying enemies that aren't the final boss. It doesn't say that aren't the final boss, but it doesn't work on the final boss, and I just want to get that out of the way now. It is very good for killing mosquitoes. Those mosquitoes that have 8 health are now 1-shot enemies, and the mosquitoes that have 20 health are now 2-shot enemies, which is going to make this upcoming fight much simpler.
You already see there is no stomp-like ability in the game. However, hammer as well as some other abilities like spike will break breakable floors for you. So that's the way we get around these.
Yeah, so those guys jump 3 times, and it's a little annoying. This is much less dangerous of a fight though, because if I like am actually bothered, I can always just equip regen, and that is what regen does. You channel it, and it's really the Hollow Knight ability. It's channel your energy into getting health. Nice to have. Set these guys on fire, and now watch 1, 2. Oh, interesting. Not quite a 2-shot. 2.5.
Hammer would have probably done it.
Hammer might have
Alright.
one-shot these things. Yeah, Hammer would absolutely one-shot these things. There's 27 damage to a flying enemy with Hammer. I bet I can actually do the rest of this fight without touching the ground. Yeah, so... Oh, I suck. Never mind. It's all over. Cancel the show. Alright, so now we have one more wave. It's 2 of these orange crabs, red crabs, and 2 of the little lizards. Wait for the lizards to group up, get them with the stomp. I'm going to use dash to stop this guy from doing his first jump, and then that is going to finish the combat shrine. And it was a Gorlagor. Nice. All right, time to leave and head over to the Midnight Burrows area.
So Midnight Burrows, in the early versions of the randomizer, had a very a keystone door of very questionable utility, to put it that way. Likely by now, items or quest items and so on are randomized while also progressing their vanilla quest state. So if you do a quest, every time you talk to someone, you're gonna get an extra pickup. This is noticeable on especially on the trade quest, where every single turn-in will grant you an item. So you can kind of do that along as you do your seed or your bingo board in this case.
Yep, we actually have a card here, a card on the board for getting some progress in the trade quest. We don't have a card that makes us complete the entire thing, thankfully, but you'll see on the board a card that is trade for a spyglass, which is about halfway through the trade quest, but we are probably going to end up doing that just based on where it is in the board. That is going to be a concern for later. For now, I'm going to head into this Midnight Burrows area and grab on the way the 2 pickups. Actually, only one of the 2 pickups. Maybe the other one. The other one's not in logic because it's locked by clean water. Come on, shoot me. Okay, we're just gonna grenade float. Grenade float again. Grenade floats are slower than hammer float, so...
Oh, that is a huge find right there.
Great. Yeah, clean water.
Yeah, sort of an obnoxious place because we found it here after Wellspring, but just based on where Bash was, it was never going to be easy to find, or it was always going to be a little obnoxious. So we're going to do this little bell puzzle. Zem, you want to explain how this works and how you're supposed to figure it out?
So there are stones in the background representing a large bell, a medium bell, and a tiny bell. You're supposed to bash them in order. They make some noise, and then the pathway opens. You do the whole area, get the quest item, and basically get told to do it backwards again, and that opens the other path. Ringing the bells also is a bingo goal, so while we're going here, we get some board progress. And now we can either continue in Midnight Burrows or afterwards maybe take a dip into Luma Pools with the newly found clean water.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear out Midnight Burrows. There's only 5 pickups there, so it's a rather easy area to full clear. And then I'm actually going to head to Glades, because with clean water and Glades you can make some more checks, including a map check, or a important hint check from the Lupo there, and he can tell me whether or not I need to care about Glades more, which is going to be important. But yeah, eventually Luma Pools is probably going to be the next major area. Luma Pools is one of the 4 post part 1 of the game areas. Not to spoil the plot of the game, but for the first part of the game, you're working on an objective, and then after you get that, some stuff happens, and you know, if you haven't played the game, don't worry about it. Ooh, bow. But after that, you get access to 2 new skills, Glide and Flap, and you're supposed to use those to collect the wisps of the forest, and that is where the game name Will of the Wisps comes from. And the wisp areas are Luma Pools, Moldwood Depths, what is the Bar's Reach, which is my favorite of the four, honestly, and Windswept Waste, which is really neat. And we will be seeing plenty of those areas once I get access to a few more skills.
Also, we just
for
saw
now.
the bow pickup. That's actually huge. There are not a lot, but there are some uniquely bow-locked pickups and also squares. And
There's actually a fair bit more bow lock than there used to be because they fixed the glitch that let you drain Qualix Hollow without it in patch 3.
And that's exactly what I was where I was going with that. We have drained Qualix Hollow and A2, and we need bow for that, so it's great to have it now.
Yeah, it is very nice to have. I'm going to finish checking stuff in this area, but even if I don't find anything else, that bow find is a huge deal. I'm very happy about that. Going to next come up here. There is a movement gauntlet to get to the pickup above me, but I don't care because I can fly with hammer. Neat. And now, what you're supposed to do for this door here is you're supposed to get this and then run through and have to hurry up and get it. I don't care. I have grenade floats. Whee!
Yeah,
Alright,
skills are very strong in this game. Many unique skills by themselves, or and even more so in combination with one or two more, can cause for some pretty huge things to open. So we just found the teleporter. Coincidentally, that one was a card on the board, so we are getting very close on that row C.
Just a quick thing I wanted to talk about. I just broke this wall. This wall connects this Midnight Burrows area to Inkwater Marsh, and if you get this wall and you break it before you have come here, it is actually really hard in the base game to get up to this pickup. Observant members or people who speedrun the game might recognize this plant as not being something in the base game, and they would be thinking, wait, what, why? And the answer to why this is here is we added in the randomizer, and it was something we added in the randomizer specifically because it was really hard to write sane logic. It was much easier to write sane logic for this area by making that plant there, instead of having it instead of just making it so that you had to assume that you didn't have the ability to jump up that wall. And placing that plant there was something Wolf worked very hard on, and is yet another example of one of the things we just really would not have been able to do without his help. So again, Wolf, thank you for all your contributions on the 42 randomizer. Right, so now I am in Qualix Hollow. It is a cool little area, and we have no music, and I'm not sure why. Actually, oh no, there it is. I'm just confused because it's not the music track I thought we'd be getting. Right, I need bow.
Alright, so this area was very trivial before the last patch. You stood on the floor switch, teleported out, came back, and the puzzle was solved. Sadly, that's no longer a thing. Instead, we now actually need to use bow to get the rock over here to open all of this up.
Yeah, it's tragic the way Moon Studios fixes bugs and makes us actually solve their puzzles and experience the content of the game. I, for one, am horrified by this. It's fine, actually. It's mostly just obnoxious because it means bow matters a lot more than it used to. But it's neat in a lot of ways. And the Qualix Hollow area, I think, is actually a really fun just sort of introduction to some of the stuff that's new in Ori 2. And I am, ooh, nice. The energy shard is one of the rare non-useless shards. It basically just acts as extra energy. You can upgrade it to get additional extra energy, which would be really neat if you have one of the energy-hungry weapons, which I may pick up later.
Also, you may have noticed the water in this area is still poisonous. It does not get cleaned by the normal clean water find, since it's kind of not connected to the rest of the water. That is intended, but it also means skipping through lowering the water just by finding clean water is not really a thing.
Yeah, I mean, the real reason the water is dirty is because there is no way in the base game to come here to skip doing that before. I actually still need bow, don't I? There's no way to come here and have access to this before cleaning the water or after cleaning the water. It's just required in the base game that you have cleaned the water before you get through here. So they just never bothered coding in treating this water like the rest of the water in the game. This water down here, however, is in the end state of the dungeon, so it is very.
Oh my, no, that is a find right there. Okay, now we are gonna see Aiko get quite a bit faster on food. Also, air dash is a thing from the get-go here, so we just got some mobility.
Yeah, dash is a very nice skill to have. I'm very happy to have it, and we actually have picked up way earlier an extra air dash, so I can actually dash in the air twice, which is not quite as good as having glide, but it's not much worse than having glide. It's very nice to have. To be able to buy another map here, and it's going to tell me that there is another key skill here, or key item here, so I'm going to keep searching down here towards the vanilla dash location, actually.
Also, I love how this is a smaller throwback to Ori 1 here. When you get the dash ability and in a vanilla game, the music changes. You will hear the post-dash music in rando, also if you have Water Dash or Burrow due to various fixes we had to do. But it's kind of similar to how in Ori 1 the Blackwood Burrows track changed when you picked up dash, and I just think that's a neat thing.
Oh, huh. I actually hadn't thought of that, but I love both dashing through their homes, which is the Ori 1 track post-dash, and dashing and bashing, which is the Ori 2 post-dash track. They're both really incredible songs. We will hear it as soon as I get the tree over here. Ow, my bones. Okay,
Does Ori have bones? I'm pretty sure Ori is a leaf creature.
I didn't say Ori's bones, I said my bones, Richard.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm Aiko. Nice to meet you, sorry.
Hello.
Alright, so we're gonna... Huh. Something's up with the music, actually. It should be playing Dashing Bashing now, but we're still getting the intro music. This has never happened before, but it's a music glitch and nobody cares. Except me. Here. So sad.
Dashing and Bashing is a great song, though.
It is such a great song. Ow! Okay, we're just gonna use grenade flips instead of the actual intended way to do this. Alright, so nothing here. It looks like the thing we want is in the second half of Pollux Hollow, over to the right, which shouldn't be hard to do. Alright. Alright, so still going to skip the mini boss.
Yeah, this mini boss, if you never fight it, you will have to skip it every time you go here. Once you start it, you're not in combat.
Alright, I fell a bit too far there.
Also, no one is quite sure why, but we're pretty sure these spitters shoot faster in rando. Let's call it a feature.
Wait, they do? Huh, I just thought they were always really fast. I never noticed that. I don't play the base game. I don't think I've launched the base game in a very long time. Huh, I wonder what does that. Fascinating.
That is a good question that I can not answer. However, I think about now is a good time to look at the board. Aiko, what are you looking at here? What are you going for?
I'm definitely going to get the C line. C looks good. I'm also thinking, honestly, basically everything that goes through the middle square is looking pretty valid. I think that it is likely that we may end up just going for C, X, Y, 3, and then either something like 2 or D. I don't know how visible it is on the screen, but I tend to refer to rows and columns based on the little letters we have for them. Just an easy way to think about it. And X is the top left to bottom right diagonal. Y is the bottom left to top right diagonal. Ooh, Reckless, the rare useful shard. Reckless increases your incoming and outgoing damage. Is very nice to have. In my playthrough of the base game, there's the other skill. Ancestral Light is technically a skill. It increases the damage you deal, which, is nice, but it's not the kind of thing you're typically looking for when you get a skill. Anyways, now it's time to go back to Glades and see if there are other key items here, and if there are key items in woods, because Lupo sells the hints for both key items and sells the hint for both glades and woods.
The reason for that is simply there is no Lupo in those locations. However, we did have 3 spots for in his shop, and just having every shopkeeper sell items wasn't, or the same kind of item pool wasn't that interesting. So since we had 2 zones we still needed hints for, we just put them right here.
Yep. And it works out rather well. And that's going to be nice because it's going to get me that D3 buy maps card, which is something I want to do. All right, and now we have clean water and water dash, which means I can do lots of fun things underwater. Water dash is so much more usable in this game than it is in Ori 1 because, you know, it's actually a skill designed by the developers and not just something that's sort of thrown in.
However, looking at your cursor and the way your dash works, I think something's changed in the randomizer.
Oh yeah, this is yet another contribution by Wolf. We're just going to keep doing these shoutouts forever, probably. But it is a really neat thing where instead of having to control swimming with your mouse and keyboard, which is honestly kind of frustrating, one of the main things that like is nice for controller players, we have instead set it up so that you can control mouse via your control swimming via your mouse. Is much nicer. Okay, so what I've learned there is that there are no key items in Glades that I haven't gotten yet, and there's only one in Wood. So I think what I'm going to do is head over to Pools. I'm going to go there from Inkwater Marsh.
Right. Also, that mouse control, of course, it's optional. If you don't want it, you don't have to play with it. We added the same for 2 other weirdly controlled skills on KBM, so Burrow and Grapple can also be used with your mouse if you want to. It's a neat feature and very comfy.
Yeah, it lets you bend the direction of a water dash in a way that is really difficult to do on KBM otherwise.
But now we are gonna use the earlier clean water find in combination with all of the other stuff we have to make our way over to the Luma Pools area.
Yep, and Luma Pools you're not supposed to be able to access without Glide. I would be able to access it without Water Dash, but with Water Dash it is very trivial, as you'll about to see. In fact, most of Luma Pools is very trivial with Water Dash. Actually kind of funny. It's one of the like very like Metroidvania randomizer trademark experiences of, oh, I'm in this area that you're supposed to get the skill 3/4 the way through and it makes the entire area trivial, but I entered the area with the skill, so the entire area starts trivial. You'll see what I mean by that shortly. First, we're going to just grab a few outer pickups, and this is the Luma Pool proper entrance. We're just going to sort of water dash up, do a hammer float, and now we're in. Hammer dashing is really fun. And yeah,
basically what happens there is a dash gets cancelled by a weapon, gets cancelled by a dash, and so on, and you zoom around the floor as long as the terrain allows for it.
And so this bar is the health bar, or the breath bar. Unlike in Ori 2, or Ori 1, where if you run out of air, you just sort of have... In Ori 1, when you run out of air, what happens is you start taking damage. In Ori 2, you just sort of die instantly, which is definitely a bit of a rude shock for people who are used to the Ori 1 system.
Mm-hmm.
Of course,
I can confirm there have been some rude awakenings there.
In the base game, you can do there's a skill you can buy from Offer, I know his name, that just gives you water breathing. I didn't know this until after I finished all of the Luma Pools, and I was very upset to find it out. Of course, randomizer, it's randomized, so not super important to have. You can do everything in Luma Pools without water breath, but some things can be a little tricky. Alright, I need to head over here. Alright, so there's a puzzle.
Oh, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes. There's a puzzle over here that you're just supposed to do in a way that I'm just going to completely ignore because this game has some very fun bugs, and one of them is the one that I'm about to demonstrate. There's no real like good explanation for why this works. I'm just going to do it, and all right. So I did it. I solved the puzzle.
Yeah, taking an intentional death up there for some reason drains the water.
Sure
Why
does.
is a good question, but it does it, so we're not gonna complain about skipping it.
Is it really a
The
good
one-
question if there's no good answers? Thinking emoji. Alright,
We
getting
are
close on
also
walls.
getting on walls. Yeah, I was about to mention that. We kinda ignored that one wall. Poor wall.
It's fine. There are 70 walls in the game. I don't actually need to get all of them, and that one's kind of slow to get. I will get this one though. I'm not actually going to go around to get to this Lupo because I just want to buy this map, and if Luma Pools doesn't have any key items, I'm probably going to leave and come back later. But it totally might. We'll see what we got here. And entire key items. Nice. Alright, I will stick around a bit longer because there is a one key item, and I also have that open this door Luma Pools card. Oh, you know what thing I'm totally going to get, and I didn't mention earlier? We're going to get line 5. There's no reason not to. Alright, so there is
Oh yeah, that is a very free line.
fight room here that we're just sort of going to skip because it doesn't trigger unless you touch the ground, and I didn't.
The one repeating mechanic in Luma Pools is once these switches that just open gates for a short time into the bubbles that you can manipulate in a lot of ways, like using flap on them, which everybody totally realized. And another fun, interesting thing that Echo may decide to show off is what happens if you grenade while on to bouncing them. So we actually get to see those before we find the key item, of course.
Yeah, we'll see. Wait, I don't have enough energy to... I need... Okay, there's a... Okay, I'm just gonna go kill myself on this spine plant. There's spikes here. Oh no, I know how to kill myself. I am going to take an intentional death there. And... now I'm gonna float up. Okay, actually... Give me that. Nice. Okay, that climbing up that room is just sort of really obnoxious with this skill set, but it's fine. What you're intended to do is glide and just bounce off bubbles, but Super can't do that because I don't have glide, so I have to make good use of these grenade floats. It's worth noting that like searching a area just for a key item is typically not worth it because most key items in this game are not actually useful. I would say under half of them are good. So it's just worth keeping in mind which ones are and aren't worth going for. I'm going to do some bashing off of this. Alright, so now we are actually going to start talking about some of the fun things you can do with the Ori randomizer seed gen, Ori 2 randomizer seed gen. And one of them is you can place pickups anywhere, and I don't just mean on skills. You can place them on anything that the game considers like a legible like variable that it tracks. And one of the variables it tracks is bingo lines. And this game has a skill called launch. Launch is the best skill in this game by such a huge margin. It's just sort of not even funny. And because of that, we tend not to. We have a couple different options for making sure that launch just isn't randomly placed, because having one item randomly placed that is just like, you get this and you win out of 390 is not super interesting from a gameplay term. So what we have instead is we have options that put launch at like specific things that you don't tend to get to late game. And the thing that I have done is put launch on 2 bingo lines. So I'm going to be trying to get 2 bingo lines pretty soon here so I can get launch and use that to access a bunch of other stuff. The lines I'm going to be going for this are 5, and I haven't quite decided on the other one, but there are a couple good options. I could go with the Silent Teeth one, or maybe look at the board a bit. Sorry,
What
it is
about
hard to both look at the
that East Pool's teleporter helps? I think you can actually reach that, and that would allow the X diagonal to be done pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, that is a good call, yeah. Yeah. So, wait, speaking of walls, I should get... Yeah, I think I'll get the East Pool's teleported the intended way like a boring person. And I will just grab this, head down here.
we can already see these areas are pretty huge.
Yeah.
One key item in a huge area does
Not
allow for a
necessarily
lot
great
of
to go through.
checking, but you're not gonna find things very quickly.
Yeah, I'm gonna activate this because I'm pretty sure. Oh no, sorry, I don't have a count spirit goals thing. It's Bars Reach or Silent Woods. Silent Woods is probably the valid one to go for there. Anyways, we're gonna grab this tree, hit one of the two water dash switches in the game. There's another one of these in where is that?
I
Wellspring.
think it's in the Wellspring, yeah.
Yep. The water area.
So yeah, with the amount of spirit light we're getting, there's also some rather interesting hints that can be bought for a huge amount of spirit light in the game.
Yeah, I may end up needing to, but if I end up needing Burrow, I will buy the. There's a hint for 4,000 spirit light that. Oops, I didn't actually not want to do that. There's a hint for about 4,000 spirit light. Sorry, not about. Exactly 4,000 spirit light. That gives you the locations of the. Basically all the Wisp Zone skills. So that's Burrow, Water Dash, Flash, and Light Burst. I already know where Light Burst is. I have it. Same with Water Dash. Cannot be said for Burrow and Flash. Flash is not very useful, but Burrow is required for a lot of stuff. So it is decently likely. Typically when you buy that hint, you're buying it because you want to know where Burrow is. The rest of the stuff is just like, it's nice to know where this is. Get the bounce off this. Alright, here we go. And now we're into this room. This room is, actually going to suck because I don't have grapple. Actually, probably the best way to do this is to go over to the other side and break the barrier.
Yep, so this is a small time trial-y thing where you need to hit 4 switches within a certain amount of time. This will open up the right side of this. Obviously you're supposed to have grapple. Grapple is kind of the first big dungeon mandatory area in the base game. This is Randall, we don't have it, so what you see Eiko doing here is opening up the wall from the right side and then taking a bit of a different route through the room.
Yeah.
Let's see how that pans out.
What? Okay, right. Double air dash. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna break this. I actually use regenerate to heal up to full, so I don't have to worry about that death. Generate. Oh, actually, this will be fine. I'll use this to get up here. Okay, so get
And
that.
then you can
and then-
see again, grenade floating also kind of works after bashing. It's very powerful. And with this, we drain this area, which now allows us to use the projectile for a different purpose.
Yep. So this is the intended way of getting this health cell that Zem mentioned earlier. And that is actually going to put me one wall away from... Wait, no, sorry. Yeah, one wall away from my first line.
We talked about Water Breath earlier. Here it is now that we finished Duma Pools and no longer need a regen.
Amazing. I love video games, and I love when they give me items. I especially love when they give me the items like this. Okay, so I am going to... Where's a good wall? Okay, so I want to do... I want to go buy weapon upgrades from Offer. You know what I'll do? I'll just go out here and break one of the walls outside of Loom Pools, so that once we talk to Offer, we can have launch. And then I can use launch to just start doing more cleanup.
But there are some connections between areas. For example, Duma Pools connects to Marsh in 2 different ways. We already saw one to the left. There's one between Wellspring and this area. However, down here there's a small challenge that we skipped earlier, and as you can see, with that wall we are at 30, and that's the first line completed. Now Eiko is gonna go over, buy 3 weapon upgrades from Offer, and then we will have the second line and hopefully see launch soon.
Maybe not really a hopefully thing. You just get launch for doing this. We are going to buy Exploding Spike, Shock Smash, and Sentry Speed. And that is going to give me launch. And now we have launch. This is launch. Launch just lets you do this. It's very good. Now, because we have launch, we just do not care about grapple anymore. And I'm going to go finish Wellspring because we're going to need to finish Wellspring. It's on the board as complete this quest, Silent Teeth. And it's also indirectly on the board as plant these seeds because you cannot plant seeds if you do not have, if you have not finished Wellspring because seeds need water to be planted or something. More specifically, it's the NPC that lets you plant seeds will not show up until you have completed the Wellspring escape. That is not a hard thing to do with launch.
As you
Now
can
we're
see,
gonna
launch basically is you get the bash without bashing off of anything. Funnily enough, in the first patch of this game, this made the old bash grenade sound from Ori 1.
Oh yeah, it was
now
really
has
good.
It now has its own unique sound, but that was also a fun little throwback there. Yeah,
I honestly missed that. Thank you for the
thing
reminder.
that makes launch so absolutely strong is not only allows you to bash mid-air, but using other skills like touching a wall, hitting an enemy with anything, bashing. All of that resets your launch, and launch also resets things like your air dashes.
Yep.
So
Launch resets your air dashes, your double jumps. You can just chain all of the movement abilities in this game together in honestly very disgusting ways. It's beautiful.
Honestly, it is strong by itself, but it's also just a win more ability. So as Anchor said, we put it here on 2 bingo lines, so we kinda get a normalish early game. And now Eiko is gonna start cleanup using launch.
Yep. Alright, so this is the rotating wheel room. We are unfortunately going to skip it. This room actually has some really neat things going on in it. There's the music track that plays there switches every time you rotate, and the final track is actually really sweet musically. However, you don't actually need to do the puzzle there, so we're not gonna. This is true even if you don't have launch. You can, there are a variety of ways to just completely skip that puzzle. It's beautiful.
Alright, and with this we open up the final area of the Wellspring and get access to the Wellspring escape. As mentioned before, we need that, otherwise we will not be able to plant seeds because the NPC won't spawn. So what we're gonna see I could do now is just get up there and complete the equivalent to the Ginso escape from the first game. Only this time
I like to call
we're running right.
Yeah, this is a Ginso escape but sideways, really. And more grapple focused. Ooh, that's another card that was on the, or another teleporter that was on the card. I am going to hit the teleporter here, not because I want to come back to Wellspring, but because I might want to go to Bower's Reach, and the best way, the Wellspring teleporter is actually the best way to get to Bower's Reach. It's also one of the best ways to get to Luma Pools. The Wellspring's like surprisingly like central for how out of the way it looks on the map. But yeah, we're gonna head up here and just sort of start this escape. There's this big, gross grabby thing. It's gonna grab us. Gross.
And this time we get to see it with water.
I mean, we're barely gonna see the water. I've got launch and 2 air dashes.
I don't know what you mean. The water is right there below you. Alright, and
Yeah,
with this
okay, good point.
we start into the Wellspring escape. This is kind of supposed to be this. Water is chasing you, you gotta chain your dashes, your bashes, your grapples. However, we got launch. Launch invalidates a lot of the need for all of that.
Launch and 2 air dashes. The extra air dash is actually doing a fair bit of work here too. Don't want to undersell that. Honestly, it's a shame we're going to make our way. Oh, I'm actually going to. Oh no, it's fine. That part down there is actually the only scary bit without grapple. The shame we're going to make our way through this so fast though, because the song is very great, never plays again, and we're only going to hear about 3/4 of it.
Eiko's stalling a bit to just for some more notes of the song. Very respectable indeed.
It's
It is
beautiful.
just good music.
It's a good song. I like it a lot. All right, and thanks to one of the really neat features. The Ori 2 seed interpretation engine sort of ended up being a programming language, and it's mostly my fault, but it was also mostly an accident. And one of the neat side effects of that is that a few people have been able to produce what we call these seed headers that let you modify how a seed works, and one of them, made by Sirius, who is that person I mentioned earlier who did a bunch of logic stuff, Sirius created a cutscene skipping header, which lets you basically automatically skips a bunch of the short and medium length cutscenes in the game. And it's really neat, and it's how I was able to skip the cutscene at the end of the the Wellspring escape there. Excuse me. All right, I'm going to go finish the Silent Teeth, and I'm going to finish that by going and talking to a frog. It's going to be an invisible frog, big invisible frog.
Skipping the mini boss once again on our way to Frog Friend.
Oh, actually, you know what I should do? It's like 50-50 on how we're going to get to Moldwood, and because it's 50-50 on how we're going to get to Moldwood, I should just get this pickup now. Ow. Actually, it's really 50-50 on whether we'll go into Moldwood at all. There is this above depths entry EX that I want to grab. Yeah, there we go. And now it's frog time.
Right, going back to the one of the first major story NPCs. We won't be seeing him here, but he's there, I swear.
Frog Friend is good. Everyone loves the Frog Friend. His name is Qualak. It's his hollow. Qualak's hollow is his hollow. Alright, there's movement with launch that you can do that I'm not particularly good at, where you just sort of slide along the ground. Alright, we have now completed the Silent Teeth. And now I'm gonna head to the Silent Woods. Oh, I already got that pickup. Yep, remember that for sure. This pickup is in Qualak's Hollow, so I'm skipping it. I already know that I have all the key items in Qualak's Hollow. There are a couple key items that I could get that would be really nice. Flap is, I think, the single biggest one of those. Actually, to the point where I'm probably going to buy a hint for it. I'm just gonna sort of ignore those guys because I don't like them very much. Okay, so remember when I said we got that key, like, it was a while ago. But yeah, here is the key, and we're going to check on this guy's family. Oh no, they're dead. They've been turned to stone. This is tragic. Later, we will go tell this guy that his family is dead, and it'll be sad. But first, we're going to talk to this guy about his dead tree problem, and he's going to give us a branch. It's dead. That quest has a happier ending, though, which we will get to see because that quest is on the board. Alright, so time to head through here.
Alright, this Silent Woods is a pretty interesting area, especially the deeper parts. You're not really supposed to do most of this as Ori, but especially the later parts, but we decided that playing as Ori is the correct way to do this, so you get to do some interesting and unconventional stuff.
Well, I mean, like, the entire area was designed to be, like, revisitable, but yeah, Zem is correct. We in the randomizer changed this, removed a, like, sort of auto-scroller sequence that we couldn't really fit into the randomizer very well and was causing all sorts of other issues, so we just sort of, not a thing. That's okay. Sometimes your randomizer and your base game are different because they need to be. This is sort of, sort of rando game design, which I think is sometimes an under-talked about feature in just making a good randomizer. Sometimes you have to change the base game a fair bit to make, like, an interesting gameplay experience. And this is one of the things we've done to do that. Sticky. Sticky is climb, but as a shard. It's like an addition to wall jump. You're supposed to get it very early in the game. But, you know, we randomize it, so. Sorry to people who played through Ori 1 or Ori 2 with using Sticky as, like, a movement technique, because you cannot really guarantee that in Ori 2 unless you customize your seed to start with Sticky. Which, you know, is, like, a valid thing to do. I'm just going to let this guy blow up on me, and would use that to break the wall. The music in Silent Woods is honestly kind of haunting. It uses big parts, or it uses like leitmotifs from very memorable songs in Ori 1.
Yes. It kind of already tells you how it's going to progress. It's
Well, everything here is
Honestly,
fine. This is the
yeah,
happy
everything
place.
is fine. Yes. Honestly,
The
the
Daijobu
music design is just amazing in this game. It really has to be said. Alright, however, there is one thing. You already see the start of the Spirit Trial here. We're gonna kinda go the way of the Spirit Trial and activate it to get another square on the board.
Oh yeah, Zem, you know what we totally haven't mentioned at all? Zem, what's a spirit trial?
Alright, so we have small speedrun time trial sections in the base game. You kinda find their endpoints in the world, then the starting point gets activated and you get to race and compete with cute little ghost Oris which will race alongside you. However, in the randomizer, there's a lot of reasons why we don't want these races to really happen in the randomizer, so there are no pickups on their completion. However, activating them is still a good thing and part of the bingo board.
I am not going to do that. I'm just going to teleport across this gap.
So there is kind of an auto-scroller section between here and the next teleporter. No reason to really activate it if we already have the teleporter, so Egg is just gonna jump over and be done with that.
This is Windswept Waste, a very pretty area that has a bunch of pickups I can't really get without Burrow, but it has several that I... Ooh. Okay, this was super worth it. That's so important. Although, oh my god, okay. Neat.
Speaking
So
of
about
Burrow,
not having... Alright, that means I don't have to buy the hand. Ooh, that's actually really good. I think what I'm going to do now is... okay, so first thing I'm going to do is get the hint here, and then I'm going to go talk to buy from Ofer the water flat tent, because that will give me all the info I need to end the game.
When you say end the game, you mean end the...
Yeah,
The
and the
bingo.
bingo. Yeah, yeah, that is what I meant. Alright, so we're going to buy this map and see if there are key items here. Oh my god.
well, we found our item hotspot for this seed.
Alright, I don't actually think I'm going to go get the hint. I'm just going to check.
Well,
Maybe.
well, I wonder where all your items were.
Okay then. Alright, so order of operations. I'm gonna go into Moldwood and kill the boss. Defeat this boss more. I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna check a bunch of items in Moldwood afterwards. Mostly what I'm looking for now is ore for that B1 card.
Alright, I admittedly do not play the game that much. Was it Flap or Glide that opened Moldwood?
I should have known that. Flap does not open Moldwood, Glide does. I am being silly. I'm very tired.
Instead, we're gonna go to the area that does get opened by Flap, which is Power's Reach, and drop a rock, not onto the bear, but right next to it.
Yep. We are going to let the bear keep sleeping. Anyway, we're going to make a bear sneeze, which is a beautiful thing. Everyone should make bears sneeze. Don't actually do this in real life. Bears are very
Don't
dangerous.
advocate
I'm not.
for
not
that, yeah.
Yes, you're right. Sorry. Thank you. Do not
Bears
try
are
this at home.
definitely dangerous.
Bears are very dangerous. Would definitely be unbearable if my advice got someone into a...
It is barely advisable.
Right, let's
come
just
on, come
connect
on.
our
That-
bearings here and stop with that.
You're right. This is getting pretty embarrassing. These puns might polarize the audience. They're getting pretty grisly. Alright, I'm done.
Right, rock breaking. That's our third line. And now, where do you wanna go next? Hey, go.
I'm gonna get
what lines do look good for you?
B and 3. I think
That
B and 3 are
means
the obvious
buying
choices to finish.
the glide hit soon, right?
Yeah. I should probably
So
go do that
since
now.
so many areas are just hard locked by items, can I put hints for most of them into the game? You kind of have to decide which ones you actually want to go for and which ones you're gonna leave up to random chance. But
Alright,
for
5 bucks says
example,
waste, by the way.
the gate to Molkwood Depths only opens if you have glide. So well,
Where? Excuse. Okay, so like, I mean, I guess it could be.
leaf pile? Question mark.
Yeah, flap locked is like the best. Flap lock is the most likely thing, but you know, with this pickup set, you know where it could be? Weeping Ridge. How are we on time, by the way? I don't actually have like a timer up.
We're right at about an hour 30 right now.
Oof.
But,
Okay.
it looks like you are getting pretty close to done.
Yeah.
So not
We're
gonna be that
almost
far
done.
over.
All right. The original estimate we gave was for 3 lines, but with my practice, we were getting 3 lines pretty quickly. That's fascinating. It's the Willow's End teleporter. Oh, okay, so glide was just here and I missed it. Neat. All right, now we can go into Moldwood Depths. And then it's just gonna be, actually, you know what? Defeating Mora is actually just gonna be enough because that'll get me, that's Into the Darkness is the quest for, this is the wrong direction. Into the Darkness is the quest for defeating Mora anyways, so Spider Boss and then buying the plant,
What we saw
Nobody's-
there was the mini boss that
nothing, we didn't see anything. There's just,
what we did not
reason-
see there is the mini boss spawning zone that we skipped 8 times. 9 times is the charm. The mini boss got its revenge.
Okay, let's just not touch the ground this time. The ground is boss.
Alright, but we will get to see. We already saw an escape sequence. We always talked about how this game actually has combat and stuff. We are gonna see an actual boss fight soon, as Aiko is going to this small spider area.
Yep. Also a big spider area. It's an area for spiders of all sizes. Moldwood Depths does not discriminate. Moldwood Depths is this incredibly creepy area. A good 30% of the reason why I don't typically play the game with the bass soundtrack, because the song here combined with like the visual effects give me the creeps, and not in a way I find incredibly pleasant. However, so the mechanic of this area is that it's dark and spooky, and the darkness and spookiness is actually lethal. If you stay in the darkness for too long, it just kills you. However, bow is a flashlight. I don't really have like a clever, interesting way to say that. Just if you fire the bow, it resets your light timer, and we're going to take advantage of that, and also take advantage of the fact that Shuriken is a good skill that does good things, to skip all of the content here.
Yeah, so as always with such areas, there is a skill that allows you to light the way.
Actually, wait.
Turns out we have replacements for it, so here we go.
Alright, so I'm gonna use... I need to have this equipped still. Alright, so there's normally a cutscene here, but like I said, cutscene skipping header. Thank you, Sirius. We're just, gonna start the fight. Looks a little silly. That's okay, though. I'm going to switch up my shards for some more combat-y stuff. I want this, and that. These are all damage amplifiers. Oop. And now it's just gonna be about hits the boss a lot. And then
You
away,
can already
hit-
see the flying again, just by chaining those double jumps and sword slashes.
Yep. And of course, launch also resets when I do this, so that's good. Everything here is good. Probably not going to touch the ground in this phase. No real point. Mora has a bunch of attacks that look spooky but just deal very little damage.
And now we have a little chase sequence interlude. We have
Yeah, I really
launch,
like this,
so
actually.
things become fast. However, spikes still hurt.
Yeah, also, dash resets your damage hitbox, or resets your iframe, so I just took, that was like 80 damage, or I think I took 40 damage 3 times in a row. because I was just spamming dash and I had that air dash up. But you know, sometimes going fast blindly is not the path. That's okay though. We're good. I'm gonna heal up real quick while we wait for Mora to catch up. Switch back to the bow so that when the lights turn off at the end of the fight, I will not die.
Spoilers.
Switch back to bow as a surprise tool that will help us later.
And we can see just more sword covering. These attacks are too terrible to dodge with this skill set, but now we no longer have a life. So if we stay outside as said before, that's an instant death. So there's a lantern
It's
right
fine now.
now.
I have a lot of damage shards. All right, skip that cutscene, and that is going to wait. Oh no! Into the Darkness is not that. That was Into the Darkness is a different skill or quest, isn't it? It's the one that uses ore. That's. I remember quest names.
There are a lot of quest names in this game, so
Yeah, it's okay. Luckily, I have 8 ore, so it's fine. So we're just gonna do the Into the Darkness quest, which I need to do in 3 steps. Step 1, talk to this little friend. Mokis are so friend-shaped. Look at them. Alright, there we go. Unlocked Into the Darkness quest. Talk to you. I would like you to clear the entrance of the caves.
And now we get to play the same darkness minigame again.
Yeah, but easier. And also, we're going to very quickly go over here and build some things. Was that the right one? I don't think it was, actually. That was the coolest one. Menuing.
But
Menuing.
that's totally fine, because that was one of the ones we wanted, right? Grab a bulbs.
Grapple Bulb is the one I wanted. It wasn't the one I clicked.
Oh, I see. I looked at the moss. That's also blue. All right.
Moss is also blue. Blue things are good. Making the area more blue is better. This was intended. I suppose I could have gone for the spyglass line, but that's more obnoxious. It would have involved going to more places. All right, go into the dark. And you're supposed to go down and around, but we have launch, so why would we do things the intended way? Gonna sort of drop down here.
You can already see the darkness. For some reason, in this place too, the darkness is very lethal. Like if you have bow to reset our darkness.
I pressed the button. I'm offended by that.
Thanks for showcasing the darkness mechanic very quick for us.
And yep. That was definitely an intentional like showcase of the mechanic and not just the game deciding to kill me.
yeah, thanks.
I am so happy to be of service.
And
right.
we are coming up on time soon.
And yeah, that'll be time. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. This was an incredible experience just getting to showcase these 2 randomizers. If you are interested in playing the Ori 1 randomizer, just head over to orirando.com and there's a getting started guide. If you want to play the Ori 2 randomizer, it's still in beta, so go to orirando.com/discord and check out the randomizer channel. There are pinned messages there that can help you get set up, or just ask for help. We are always around and happy to help people. And Richard, thank you so much for having us on.
Yeah, thank you for being on. Yeah, again, everyone, if you're interested in the randomizer, either for Ori 1 or Ori 2, there's a very welcoming community. You can join, the Discord and find out more information. Go to the site to find out more information as well. And follow both of our runners today. So first runner was Zemsis. You can see his name in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, and Aiko, the blue, you can see her name in the bottom middle of the screen. So be sure to check out both of them if you're interested in any Ori randomizer action. And we're going to be getting into Challenger approaching very quickly here. Just a quick announcement, if you are interested in any of our Hotfix shows, you can go to gamesdonequick.com/hotfix to find out more info. We're going to have That's Never Happened Before at 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, where we'll be showcasing various Zelda games. So be sure to check that out. And as we close out here, we're just going to go to a quick break for Challenger Approaching. I do want to say something before we end the show here. Our first episode of Game Masters was Tetris. And as some of you may know, Jonas Neubauer unfortunately passed away last week. And I just want to offer my deepest condolences to his family and also Heather, who had also, been a part of that. And, it was definitely, a tough week for me, but I just want to say that, he had impacted a lot of people's lives, and I am grateful to have met him and talked with him before. And best wishes to her and the rest of his family and anyone that knew him and anyone that has ever seen any classic Tetris stuff. With that, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back for Challenger Approaching next.